Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show.
Back in your life on this Monday, May 20th, 2019. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. Welcome back to the program. Hope you had a lovely weekend. If you are joining us in the Great White North, a happy Victoria Day to ya. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time in MMA because we're coming off a very fun, sneaky good card. I called it going in. I thought it was a fun card in Rochester, highlighted by Rafael dos Anjos defeating Kevin Lee in the main event. Also, how about Felicia Spencer? How about Michel Pereira? Wow, what a debut. We've got a lot to discuss. No UFC this weekend. They're taking a rare Memorial Day weekend off. And at a time not that long ago, they used to hold like the biggest cards of the year on Memorial Day weekend. This time, they're taking it off. But there's plenty of MMA action as always this weekend. PFL's back, and we'll talk about PFL in a second. But first, I want to share something very exciting with all of you. Last week, I told you that for the first time in the history of this show, I've been doing this show in many different places. In fact, for 3 different outlets for 10 years. In June, it will be 10 years since I've been doing this show. And I've never done a live show in front of a studio audience, so to speak. Well, not a studio audience, but like on location, on the road, if you will. I've never done one of those, okay? And I've always wanted to do it, and I've brought it up many, many times in the past. Well, I'm very excited to announce to all of you that on Friday, June 7th, in Chicago, the night before UFC 238, we are taking this show on the road. It's the Helwani Road Show, if you will. And this is great. And as of right this moment, tickets are on sale for this. There's going to be meet and greets. There's going to be guests, refreshments, food, all that and more. All right, so this is the lowdown. All right, tickets on sale right now for the first ever Helwani Road Show over at eventbrite.com. That's event, E-V-E-N-T, Bright, B-R-I-T-E.com. Right now, eventbrite.com. These are the deets, as the kids like to say. Friday, June 7th, Lincoln Hall in Chicago. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8 Central Time. Meet and greet immediately after the show. There's going to be food, appetizers, all that and more. You must be 18 or over to attend. All seating is general admission. Tickets are $30. Just go to eventbrite.com and search for my name, Ariel Helwani, and boom, that easy. Link will come up. Purchase, and I will see you there. And I want to blow this thing out. I want to sell it out in minutes. Then we do more, and we do venues all over the country. People already asked me about Anaheim, Edmonton, Las Vegas. This is the first one. So we're coming to you, Chicago. If you're going to 238, you're looking for something to do Friday. If you're not going to 238 and you're in the area, come to me, June 7th, Lincoln Hall. Go right now, eventbrite.com. Search my name, Ariel Helwani, and there you go. I'll meet you there, and we're going to have a great time. All right? So that's the exciting news. Literally a dream come true. I want to thank everyone here at ESPN, Elizabeth, Glenn, Daniel, everyone who's been working on this. Thank you. I can't wait for it. All right, this is the lineup today, and then we'll get to our first guest of the day. Around 3:45, we're going to be joined by the new UFC strawweight champion. There she is, Jessica Andrade, coming off that win over Rose Namajunas. I'm looking forward to talking to her. I do believe first time in the history of the program that we have Jessica Andrade on. Very exciting. Felicia Spencer is going to join us at around 3:30. I'm looking forward to talking to Montreal's own Felicia Spencer, coming off that big win over Megan Anderson on Saturday, the former Invicta FC featherweight champion. How about Rafael dos Anjos? He will join us as well. Did I skip someone? I may have skipped someone. Oh, yes. Rafael dos Anjos. There we go. There he is. He's coming off that big win over Kevin Lee. I'm looking forward to talking to him. Huge win for him. He snaps his 2-fight losing streak. He gets the win over the wrestler, and now he is back, the former UFC lightweight champion. Late edition, Tyron Woodley. That's the one I got confused about. He's going to join us at around 3 o'clock, talk about why he pulled out of the fight against Robbie Lawler. That was supposed to take place June 29th in Minnesota, and we'll get an update on his hand, where he's at mentally, physically. So I appreciate Tyron Woodley for stopping by and agreeing to doing the show. Michel Pereira, who I told you about moments ago, had an amazing, outstanding debut on Saturday. What a victory for him against Danny Roberts. I mean, if you missed it, I don't know where you have been. He's flipping all over the place. The guy's crying on the way to the cage. He's doing like these breakdancing moves. I mean, he's just unbelievable. Excited to have him on the show. How about Raymond Daniels? Remember a couple weeks ago, he had the 720 knockout in Bellator Birmingham. The kickboxing great, now MMA fighter for Bellator. I'm looking forward to talking to Raymond Daniels. We'll also get an update on Sage Northcutt. He was in Sage's corner in one championship on Friday. Sage getting knocked out by Cosmo Alexander. So we'll get an update from Raymond Daniels. Garry Tonon was victorious on that one championship card. He's now 5-0 as a professional, looking very good. Every time he fights, he does something spectacular. This time it was a heel hook, so that will be fun. How about Tyson Fury? Wow, the Gypsy King himself. Yes, Tyson Fury is going to be on the show. I can't wait for that. We'll get his thoughts on Deontay Wilder and his upcoming fight on June 15th, which you can catch on ESPN+. We'll also talk to Petr Yan, one of the up-and-comers at 135 in the UFC. He returns to action at UFC 238 in Chicago against Jimmy Rivera. And Leon Edwards will stop by, get his take on maybe fighting Robbie Lawler, why he's not fighting Jorge Masvidal. He has a lot to get off his chest. But first, let us go to the FaceTime machine and say hello to New York's own. If I could give him a hug, I would give him a hug right now because he is a suffering New York sports fan. If you follow Chris Wade on Twitter, you will know that between the Knicks and the Mets and the Jets and all these teams, this man is suffering. But he is here, and most importantly, he is fighting on Thursday on ESPN, PFL, Event 2 of Season 2 in the co-main event. Home turf for him, Long Island. Chris, how are you?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to have you on because actually I wanted to let you know that everything's going to be okay. You were very upset last week about the Knicks getting the third pick, but I want you to know it's going to be okay. We got RJ Barrett, man. This is good. He's going to be better than Zion Williamson.
I'm going to take your word for it, but I really wanted two to come through for us. I wanted Ja Morant after seeing what he did in the tournament. I would have taken Zion or him, but Barrett just has me a little bit nervous. I feel like they're going to trade this pick, Ariel.
No. Trade the pick for AD?
I think they are.
By the way, not a bad consolation. If they traded for AD, I think I could live with it. I don't want. I want to build slowly. I don't want to ship the entire team away. I will admit I don't have a lot of faith in the brass, but I feel like good things are coming. I feel like this time things are different.
Yeah, if we can net Durant, I think it's going to change everything. But if we don't get Durant, I could see 10 more years of the same. I hope not, but.
Okay, so you are I know you're a diehard Mets fan. You're a Jets fan as well, correct?
No, Giants.
You're
actually,
a Giants fan.
Thank God.
Wait a second. Long Island guy? How are you a Giants fan? That seems weird to me.
You know what? I was just following what my dad followed, and he was a Giant fan, and that's how he raised us. So, diehard Giant fan.
Okay,
Thank God.
Of those three teams, which is the bigger mess right now, in your opinion? Because they all kind of are messes, if we're being honest. I mean, the Jets might take the cake on all of them. Sorry to our guys in the back, J and J, but I have to admit they are pretty bad right now. But the Giants aren't doing great as well. I mean, the guy from Duke that they drafted, of those three, which is the worst situation in your opinion?
Well, I think you got to put the Knicks up front. It's been 42 years since we won? I've never seen a title. Have you ever seen a title?
46, actually, 1973.
46. Okay, yep. And then, the Mets are just right behind them on their coattails because it's all about the ownership. The ownership's a mess in both situations, and they don't want to leave. No one can throw them out. They own it.
Yep.
And we're stuck with it.
Well, you're bringing some good news to New York State. You're bringing some good news to the greater New York City region because you're competing Long Island. I must say, I was at the first event 2 weeks ago, and there weren't a lot of Long Island fighters on the card. This particular card on Thursday, there's a lot of Long Island fighters. So I feel like the crowd is going to be better. Were you at that event 2 weeks ago?
I wasn't at the event 2 weeks ago because with preparation for this fight coming up on Thursday, I had practiced myself. I had a lot going on, but I heard that it was really well attended. I heard that it was a great event.
What for you? You fought there once before in the previous season.
Twice.
But
yeah.
Go ahead.
Twice.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Do you like fighting there? Do you like fighting at the Coliseum, or does it bring an extra amount of pressure and attention that is kind of annoying?
No, I love fighting at home. I had people around here ask me like, "Oh, is it too much pressure? Would you rather be away?" But no, this is my comfort zone here. I get to train at my own gym. I just came from practice here with my teammates. I don't have to stay in a stuffy hotel room. No offense to my coaches, but with three other huge dudes there, I'm stuck on a double bed with them. I get to sleep in my own bed. And I just get to go about business as usual. I drive to the fight, and it's just sit in traffic like everybody else does here on Long Island, and that's my comfort zone. So for me, being home is an advantage.
And of course, how can I forget your fight against Frankie Perez? That was the first event on Long Island, headlined by Chris Weidman versus Kelvin Gastelum, and then last season you fought on the Long Island card for PFL 5. You made it to the semifinal. I remember when we had you in studio, and you were leaving the UFC, and you were wondering about your future, and then you get this great opportunity with PFL, and you got so close to that $1 million main event. How did you deal with that, getting so close but losing in the semifinal?
I spent a good week genuinely miserable from just being that close to being in the final and tasting that money. But I tried to draw on that wrestling mindset that we have as we grew up and not feel sorry for myself, put the blame on myself, because our adage was always, you let it be too close. I felt like I won that fight. If you look at the statistics of that fight, I felt like I brought the fight to him, and there was nothing I could do about it. But I looked at it like, I'm a state champion wrestler, I'm an All-American wrestler, and I let this guy from Brazil take me down twice and control me for a little bit. He didn't do much with it, but he did take me down, and that was the difference in the fight. So I just did some looking inward, looking in the mirror, trying to get better.
That was your second fight on the same night, so that's what's unique about the playoff format, if you will. Did you feel like that affected you? Of course, he's dealing with the same circumstances, but in hindsight, did you feel like you were too tired?
Well, like you said, he was dealing with the same circumstances, so I know he also went through a 2-rounder, but it definitely hurt me as far as some of my explosion early on. I carried a couple injuries with me into that weekend and that fight. So there was a few things where I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do, but I mean, I won the 3rd round, so I can't really say that it was it being the second fight that there was a difference there. Maybe I had a little trouble getting going in the first after just having that hour off. It's definitely it's a tough situation to put yourself in. It was my first time ever, but that's an experience I'm going to be able to draw on for this season and the playoffs this year, and I'll have the advantage even further.
So it's interesting because you are a huge sports fan, so you know what it's like. A team makes it all the way to the conference championship, and they stumble, and then they have to go through training camp again, and it's a long journey, and a lot of athletes have talked about this. Do you feel that same, that same grind right now, where it's like, man, I have to go through this whole thing all over again to get back there? Are you dreading that? Are you looking forward to that? How do you deal with it?
I've turned that into motivation because I got so close last year. Like you said, with the sports teams that we watch, we've seen our teams that we love get so close, and then the next year you have high hopes, and you just assume since they were that good the year before, they're going to be back. But you can't just assume that. I've been working in the gym with my team since, I gave myself a little time off. I came back around February, and I've just been busting it since. And my mindset is that I just want Natan again. I just see that he and I are going to clash again, whether it be the semis or the finals. And I just want to right that. I mean, I got 2 losses on my record to him, and I got to get him back. I have to.
What do you know about Nate Andrews? 15-1, solid guy, getting this big opportunity as well against a name like yourself. How much do you know about him?
We've done our due diligence on him. I know that he's got a great record, but I also know that he's a little bit older than me. He's 35, and he comes from CES, which it's a long running promotion up here, but he never really took a jump to a bigger promotion and tested himself. If you look at some of the guys that he's fought recently and their record, it's 15-16, guys like that. And I mean, I have fights against guys in the UFC. I have fights against guys in the PFL. I have fights even back to Ring of Combat against Frankie Perez. I think our records and who we fought, it just it doesn't compare.
I'm looking forward to this. Is a loaded card, by the way. If anyone hasn't checked it out yet, because there's just so much going on. I mean, names like Lance Palmer, yourself, Andre Harrison, Ramsey Nijem, Hanis Torres. There's just a ton. Rashid Magomedov, Nan Schultz, Damon Jackson, Jeremy Kennedy, who just signed Steven Siler. I mean, a lot of big names. There you see the lineup right over there. It goes down this Thursday, 7 p.m. on ESPN2, main card on ESPN Plus. You're on the main card. Your co-main event. Schultz is on the prelims, so maybe that's a sign of things to come about where things stand right now for season 2. I appreciate you doing this, Chris, on short notice. And also, by the way, don't worry. It's going to be okay. We're getting Kyrie. We're getting KD. We're getting RJ. Don't worry, my man. I got you. In the Knicks, I trust, and I need your trust as well, all right?
Yeah, I trust you, but I need you to work me through this because I just don't trust it. I don't trust them, Ariel.
Believe, Chris. We'll do this together. We'll get through it together.
We try that. The Mets fans try that. You got to believe.
Yes.
But it goes sideways. I don't know. I can't help it.
All right. Well, first things first, your fight on Thursday. Good luck to you. I'll be watching. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Ariel.
There he is, Chris Wade, one of the good guys in this business. Looking forward to his fight. He returns to action on Thursday. All right, let's switch gears here and talk about the welterweight division. It is loaded right now. On Friday, when news came out that Tyron Woodley was out of his fight against Robbie Lawler, everyone came out of the woodwork and said, I want Lawler. And how about RDA reasserting himself after that win over Kevin Lee? Well, one man who needs to be in all those talks and then some is our next guest, Leon Edwards, who joins us right now via the magic of FaceTime as well. He joins us in his car, and I really appreciate him doing this. I know he was busy today with training. Leon, how are you?
I'm good, Errol. I'm good. Just finished training. I'm outside now in the car.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this, Leon. And I know there's a lot going on. I have to ask, though, last time I spoke to you, of course, was after the event in London. And I have to say I'm disappointed. Why aren't you fighting Jorge Masvidal? How can they let this happen? How did they let this happen? This is not right. I mean, look, I like the fight against Ben Askren, but that was your fight.
100%, Errol. That was the fight to make. And I think the UFC offered Masvidal the fight and turned it down. So it is what it is. I'll see him again, and his day will come.
So to the best of your knowledge, they actually went to him and offered him the fight, and he said no.
From what I've heard, they've offered him the fight, and he turned it down. So clearly the man don't want the smoke, So it is what it is.
How do you process that? I mean, you were punched backstage. And whatever was said with all that, but like, how do you at that point, like, it's sort of my line of thinking about the Conor McGregor Khabib fight. Like, once Conor went to Brooklyn and did what he did, you have to make the fight now, right? I mean, like, you guys are actual fighters. How do you process that they couldn't make it happen?
I don't know, Errol. Like I said, I was willing to go straight away in June, but they did what they did. They offered him the fight, they turned it down, and now here we are. I'm looking for now another top 5 guy and go from there.
Did you hear Dana White talk about the incident and say more that like he blamed security for not holding him back as opposed to Masvidal for doing what he did? Did you hear any of that?
I've got like the highlights of it. I didn't watch the full interview, but I think the UFC do what's best for them. They don't really like. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But like I said, his day will come in. But we'll see. That you think he's some bad boy, so we'll see. Yeah,
like selling T-shirts now after this whole thing. You see all that? Does it bother you?
Nah, it's funny, really.
Okay.
It's funny because I knew what happened, and they had to move the man. You know what I mean? They moved him. They called police. So it's funny looking back on it, really, because he would have got hurt badly, Errol. So it is what it is.
All right, and so now, I mean, everyone's getting booked up, but there's this opportunity with Robbie Lawler being available because Tyron Woodley pulled out, and I saw on Twitter that you kind of threw your name into the hat. Is that the fight that you want?
That's the fight. I was willing to go for the RDA fight until that fight fell through. So I thought, why not step up and take on the former champion, like Robert Lawler. I'm on a 7-fight win streak, so it'd be good for him to redeem himself. And so I thought, why not? Give me 6 weeks, and I'll go out there, beat him, then a title shot.
Okay, so what are the chances this actually happens?
I heard nothing from from the UFC, so I don't know. I think the ball is more in Robert's court at the moment. I think it's up to him. He wants to fight. There's many names, but I feel I'm the front runner and I'm the best offer that he's got. So I heard nothing from the UFC yet.
To the best of your knowledge, is the UFC interested in this fight? Do they like the idea of you fighting Robbie Lawler?
From what I've heard, I feel so. I feel they want to make the fight, but I think it's like they said, it's down to Robbie Lawler.
Right.
Probably like another 2 or 3 fights left. So I think it's picking who he wants to fight, and that's what it is. That's what I heard anyway. Did
you watch the RDA Kevin Lee fight this past weekend?
Yeah, I watched it very closely, and straight away I thought that's the fight to make. I think he's ranked number 4 now in the world, and I think that's the fight for me to make now. I'd love to fight him in the Abu Dhabi on I think September the 7th. I think that'd be a good fight. To co-main event that. So that's my plan.
Okay, wait. So which one do you like better, the Robbie Lawler fight or that one?
Probably the RDA fight, because he's a former world champion as well.
Yeah.
But he's higher ranked. He's number 4, like I said. So probably the RDA fight, because he's the higher ranked. He's a higher ranked guy. He's a former world champion and he's coming off a good win. So probably that fight.
And were you impressed with his performance? Like, I thought Kevin actually looked good in the first round, but then sort of ran out of gas. What did you think of RDA, especially against a wrestler who, in his last 2 fights, he fought Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman and obviously lost to them. What did you think of how he rebounded?
He did good. He did good. He's on a 2-fight skid, so to come back and did what he did on Saturday, fair play to the man. Kevin Lee, he got fatigued. He did it at lightweight. He did it at welterweight. So it's hard to judge really on how good he is, because Kevin Lee got fatigued. But he's a former world champion, and enough respect for him. But I would love to test my skill versus him.
How would you describe the way you feel about your career right now? Because, like I said, there seems to be a lot going on in the division. It's completely stacked with Usman and Covington, and Askren and Masvidal and Robbie Lawler and yourself and RDA now. But it feels like a lot of people are booked or have just fought, and you're kind of on the sidelines
exactly.
watching this. What's going on here? How would you describe it?
I don't know. At the moment, I feel like I'm just waiting in the wind. I don't know what's happening. Like I said, the Masvidal fight was the fight to make. That didn't get made. So at the moment, it feels like I'm just waiting in the wind. But I feel I deserve a top 5 opponent now. So it's whoever the offer, but top 5 should be next. I don't feel me fighting like a random fight would do nothing for my career. Being where I am now. So I want a top 5 opponent next. Then after that, I want a title shot. I feel that would be the right thing to do.
Have they, since your fight in March, have they reached out to you with anyone?
Not really. I think they're trying to offer Ponzinibbio or something. They mentioned it. Didn't offer it. They mentioned it, but that does nothing for me at all. So that's it. Really, that's the only name that's been thrown about, because he's the only one that's free in the top 10.
Yeah.
But that does nothing for me. I want top 5, and that's it.
When did they want that fight?
I don't know. It was mentioning it. It didn't really say a date. Just saying what I thought about it.
Right.
I don't know.
But it didn't tickle your fancy.
Nah. If I go out there and be positive, that does nothing for me.
Right.
Me going out there now and be RDA, top 4 former world champion. I think that makes more of a statement, and that propels me more to be to the world title, to be a world champion. So I feel that's the fight to make.
Even though Ponzinibbio is on a longer winning streak.
Longer than who?
Than RDA.
Yeah, but RDA's a bigger name.
Right,
he's a former world champion. He's ranked number 4. The list goes on and on.
Sure.
That's the fight to make.
Okay, fair enough. And so if you can't get but you would take the Robbie Lawler fight if offered to, correct?
100%. If they offer that fight, I would take that fight, 100%.
Okay, but if not, you want to return in. And why Abu Dhabi?
I went on holiday I went to Dubai after my fight, and I also love the culture. I love the people. I love the weather. So they're like next door to each other. So that'll
Okay.
be like a holiday slash fight
Yeah, yeah.
fight week. So that'll be good.
When did you go there?
After my fight, I went like
Oh,
2
this
weeks
past
after my
fight.
fight. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
went there. I took my son out there, and it was good. And I love the culture. I love the food. It was a beautiful place.
Just you and your son in Dubai.
I'm all my friends and
Okay.
their family and stuff. So
Wow.
it was a big family vacation. It was good.
What was the best thing you did there?
Um, I met like a sheikh, and like he got like in his house.
Wow.
Got like a zoo in his house. So like got lions and
Whoa.
monkeys and giraffes, and it was the money is different in Dubai.
In his house? Like in his
In
backyard?
his house, the man was watching football on TV. And like at his window was a giraffe. I was like, what the? I was like, what the hell's going on? So
And how did you meet this guy?
from one of my friends live in Dubai, and they know one
Okay.
of them. So I told them I want to go and see the farm. So they brought me to the farm, and it was good.
Wow. Yeah. I know a lot of the sheiks over there. They love jujitsu. They love MMA.
Yeah, I actually did a seminar when I went out there as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
they love MMA in
Yeah.
Dubai. So I'd love to go out there and fight. I think it's September the 7th. I think.
Yeah.
I'd love to go out there and fight out in Abu Dhabi and to be a co-main event. That'd be good with RDA.
Yep. And how about your brother Fabian killing it? That up kick there? That was incredible stuff. Holy smokes. He's doing well. Are you proud of him?
Yeah, the kid is a savage. I'd love for him one day to join me in the USA. So I feel like 2 more fights left to Bellator, and hopefully, I'm praying that they don't re-sign and come to the UFC with me. So the kid is a savage, man.
Why do you want him to come to the
And I'm
UFC?
here-
They
and-
see. Oh,
And I'm here with the former world, the champion of Cage Warriors, the welterweight champion of Cage Warriors, just finished training.
UFC soon, bro.
we'll see you in the UFC as well. But I'm curious, why do you want him to go to the UFC? Because it seems like Bellator is treating him really well.
Yeah, no, I'm just selfish, really. I think it'd be good to have me and him in the UFC.
Sure.
That's the only reason, really. Apart from that, they're treating him perfectly. They pay well, they treat him good, but for selfish reasons, I'd love for me and him to be in the UFC.
Yeah, I think I saw on social media he said he already has his next fight.
Yeah, he's fighting again in 3 weeks in London.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's fighting like he's active. He's good.
Yeah.
He's very good. He's very good. So
Yeah, and that's the other
it's
thing.
good
They're
to see him
giving him
fight
a lot
again.
of fights as well. They're keeping-
Exactly.
So, and here you are frustrated because they're not fighting you.
Here I am winning, but not getting a fight.
I know, it's crazy.
It's a mad game era.
I feel like you're in a weird dilemma. Like other fighters have faced this dilemma as well. You continue to win, you dominate your opponents. You don't love talking trash, so everyone's just like bypassing you, and it's not right. 7 in a row. You need those big fights.
7 in a row. I fought Killers, Gordon Nelson, Cowboy back to back. Everyone I've fought. Look at Cowboy now. Look at Vincent Luque.
Yeah,
I fought him. I beat him. Look at all these guys I fought. You know what I mean? So
it's crazy.
I feel I'm for the new wave. I feel I'm the front runner, and I'm the number 1 fighter. But it's just getting the fight now to prove my case.
Well, I hope they put some respect on your name, as the kids say. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Good man.
Yes.
Good man.
Leon, thanks for doing this, and good luck getting either the Robbie Lawler fight or the RDA fight. I like both those ideas.
yeah,
I hope things work out for you.
Good man. Thank you, brother.
All right, there he is, Leon Edwards. Give Rocky a fight. Give him some respect. I mean, for God's sakes, the guy's won 7 in a row, and we've seen this before in the UFC. We've seen this with other fighters, and not just in the UFC and other promotions as well. You have a guy who's winning, who's dominating, he's right. Look at the people he's beat. I mean, Cowboy. Everyone's talking about Cowboy going gaga over Cowboy, and he beat him less than a year ago. Vicente Luque. Look what he did this past weekend. Look what he has done as of late. I think that was his 5th in a row. Beat him not that long ago. Give this man a fight. I maintain, look, I like the Masvidal fight against Ben Askren, but I maintain that should have been his fight. If you punch a guy backstage, whether it's right, wrong, whatever the case may be, you still have to then go fight each other. I mean, like this is not like the NBA where you punch and like you get suspended and you have to stay apart and all this stuff. No, you actually can go in a cage and punch each other further, right? So I don't know. It's a weird thing. Anyway, thank you very much to Leon Edwards. And thank you to Chris Wade. We're keeping this train rolling along. In 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, one Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. But first, this is a long time coming. I'm very excited to go to Thailand right now and say hello to Petr Yan, the Siberian gangster. There he is. Look at him. He looks like Ricky Hatton. Has anyone ever told you that, Petr? You look exactly like Ricky Hatton, joined by his translator and manager, Sayat, as well. Petr, how are you?
Thank you for having me.
I'm good, Ariel. How are you?
The nose, yes. This is great, and thank you for doing this. I know it's very late over there. It's 12:30 in the morning, so I appreciate it very much. Thank you to both of you. I heard that your friends, Petr, are calling you the Siberian gangster. Why do they call you the Siberian gangster?
Почему тебя сибирским гангстером друзья называют?
Потому что я вырос в Сибири и воспитывался в гангстерских условиях.
Because I grew up in Siberia and I was raised in gangster-like circumstances, on the street.
Oh, what do you mean by that, gangster-like circumstances? Can you tell us more?
Можешь рассказать больше, почему как гангстерский?
Я хулиганил часто в детстве, в принципе, и как бы так, шутя, в принципе, назвали, ничего серьезного. В принципе. Сибирь, гангстер, так, больше в шутку, наверное, да.
I was a little bit nasty when I was growing up. I was a hooligan, and maybe like as a joke, my friends call me a gangster. Nothing serious, just as a joke.
But from what I understand, when you were a child, you used to get into a lot of street fights, correct? Even when you were 10 years old?
Когда ты был ребенком, ты часто на улице дрался, да, когда тебе было лет 10 даже.
Да, брат. Yes, of course.
But you would win them all, right? You'd be the one, getting the better of your opponent, correct?
Ты всегда побеждал, да, на уличных драках?
Ну, всякие были моменты. Сейчас не будем говорить, что я всегда побеждал, но в большей степени, да.
There were different situations, outcomes. I'm not gonna say I won all of my street fights, but most of the times I was the winner.
Okay. And things are going very well for you in the UFC. Are you at all surprised by any of this, or is this what you expected? Is this how you expected your UFC run to go thus far?
Все хорошо, сейчас у тебя идет UFC. Ожидал ли, что все так получится или нет?
Я не ожидал, что так все получится, но раз все так идет, мы трудимся, работаем в этом направлении и надеюсь, что дальше больше.
I didn't expect things goes this way, but we're working hard and everything's going right, so we're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Do you feel like if you win this fight on June 8th that you will be next for a title shot? Do you feel like this is a number one contender fight, perhaps just for you because of how good things are going for you?
Считаешь ли ты, что если ты выиграешь следующий бой 8 июня, то ты будешь следующим претендентом на титул?
Я очень бы хотел, да, быть следующим претендентом на титул. Вот. Посмотрим, как будет, но я готов и имею большое желание подраться за титул.
Yeah, I really want to be the next one in line for the title. Let's see how it plays out, but yeah, I have a desire and I'm ready to fight for the title.
And right now you're joining us from Thailand, correct?
С Таиланда, да, ты разговариваешь?
Да, сейчас мы находимся в Таиланде.
Yes, right now we're in Thailand.
And what is it like for you? Because I understand that you have a young family. You have one child, right?
Ты один сын.
Yes.
What is it like being away from them? You've been very active. This is, I think, your 5th fight in the UFC. You've had a lot of fights. You have to go do your training camps in Thailand. What's it like for you to be away from them for so long?
Каково быть далеко от своей семьи? Это уже твой 5-й бой за год. Все время уезжаешь.
Да, это очень большая нагрузка. Конечно, хочется больше проводить времени с семьей, но я делаю это ради них, поэтому я думаю, что понимают это.
Yeah, it's a big workload. Of course, I want to spend more time with my family, but I'm doing it for them, so they know why I'm doing it.
Does your family ever come and stay with you in Thailand, or are you always away from them?
Твоя семья иногда приезжает в Таиланд, ты все время уезжаешь сам.
Нет, иногда, конечно, приезжают. Сейчас просто было время месяц до боя и решили, что поеду быстро, чтобы сконцентрироваться, а не отвлекаться на какие моменты.
Yeah, sometimes they join me in camp, but this time because they were less than a month till the fight, so I decided to come along this time.
I don't know if you know this, but in Chicago, where you're fighting on June 8th, there's a very big Russian population. Do you expect that a lot of people are going to be there to support you? Have you ever been to Chicago and been around those people?
Он говорит, не знаю, знаешь ли ты, но в Чикаго очень много русских, и ожидаешь ли ты, что будет большая поддержка? Ты был ли вообще в Чикаго, вообще что ты ждешь?
Я не был в Чикаго, но если в Чикаго много русских, я уверен, что очень много ребят придет за меня болеть.
Yeah, I never been to Chicago, but as you say, there are many Russian. I'm sure there will be guys who will come and support me.
What do you think of this matchup against Jimmy Rivera? Jimmy's a tough guy, a gritty wrestler. Sometimes it's hard to look good against Jimmy Rivera because of how gritty he is, and he just has that style that it's hard to get into sort of a firefight with him, so to speak. What do you think of this matchup? Did you like it when it was presented to you?
Что ты думаешь вообще о своем сопернике, о том, как вы схожи стилями или нет? Он, допустим, как может как борец засушить бой, и вообще очень тяжело ярко показать себя против него. Что ты думаешь вообще об этом бое?
Да, я думаю, что засушить он может только пойманную карася у себя в реке. Вот. А бой пойдет по моим условиям. Как я буду его вести, так он и будет идти.
I think I will dictate the fight, dictate the tempo, how it will go. So I will be the one in control.
Yes.
He's not gonna control anything in this fight.
Correct me if I'm wrong. From what I understand, your brother used to box, and you wanted to go box as well, but he didn't want to bring you along. So you used to sneak out and try to go find where he would box and watch, and then finally you were given the opportunity as a youngster. I'm talking about like when you were 10, 11 years old. Is that what happened? How you first fell in love with competing?
Он рассказывает эту историю, то, что твой брат тебе не разрешал ходить на бокс, и ты вот проследил за ним, после этого сам начал ходить, и это был первый раз, когда начал соревноваться, вообще полюбил соревнования, спорт.
Нет, я до этого, конечно же, занимался еще различным спортом. Я с детства любил соревноваться, с детства любил лидерничать, так скажем. Вот. Просто я полюбил драться, понял, что на соревнованиях можно заслуживать, скажем, расти как спортсмену и так далее.
I used to be competitive as a child, always. I used to do every other sports before I joined boxing, but yeah, it was true. My brother didn't want me to join boxing at first, but after I won my first competition, he admitted that I'm his brother. And for me, competition is like it's like a school. You learn from it and you grow from it as an athlete.
So why did you go down the route of mixed martial arts as opposed to boxing?
Почему ты именно решил по ММА, а не по боксу?
ММА набирал очень большую популярность, гораздо больше, чем бокс стал популярен этот спорт в это время. И да, это было модно начать заниматься ММА, и я, так скажем, мне нравилось это.
MMA started to become very popular in Russia, and it was like a cool thing to do, so I decided to switch gears to MMA.
Who were some of the fighters that first caught your eye? Like, are we talking like the Fyodor Emelianenko days? Anyone else in particular? Like the first fighters that you thought, wow, these are fellow Russians. I could do this too. These people inspire me.
Кто вот из тех бойцов, когда ты только начинал, из ММА бойцов, кто тебя вдохновлял? Может, был Федор Емельяненко или еще кто-то из русских бойцов?
Ну да, конечно же, Федора Емельяненко бои я видел, и, конечно же, он, как у нас в России, так скажем, был такой предводитель смешанных единоборств. Вот. Но я как бы не отталкивался ни от кого, просто перешел, мне понравилось это и все.
Of course, like Fedor was a leader of MMA in Russia. We were always looking at him, but I didn't really was looking up to anyone. I just liked the sport as a whole. That's why I decided to do it.
Did your brother continue? Is he a fighter as well?
Твой брат продолжает заниматься?
Нет, он тренирует детей.
He's a coach. He's coaching the kids.
Oh, wow. Okay. Does he coach you too?
Он тебя тренирует или?
Не-не, я его сам тренирую.
I'm the one coaching him.
I like that. The tables have turned. Very nice. I also understand that you graduated from the Siberian Federal University with a degree in physical culture and sport. Is that accurate? And what is physical culture in sport? A degree in physical culture. What does that entail?
То, что ты говоришь, у тебя есть образование по физической культуре. Что это вообще означает, образование по физической культуре? Какая у тебя профессия, специальность?
Я специалист по работе с молодежью, я могу работать как с детьми, так со взрослыми людьми, я могу в плане физической культуры, там, могу тренировать, там, просто специалист по работе с молодежью. Вот.
So he's a specialist in working with youth and child, and he can teach, he can be a coach, you know, in the physical culture, like it means in different kind of sports.
Oh, wow. Do you do that currently, or when you're going to be done fighting, you'll put that into use?
Ты этим сейчас занимаешься или после того, как закончишь, будешь этим заниматься?
Пока я полностью сам в профессиональной карьере, и пока тренировать я не хочу. Дальше посмотрим, как оно будет.
Yeah, right now I'm 100% dedicated to my professional career, and I don't want to coach now, to be a coach now, but who knows what will be later.
Do you feel like life has changed for you since you've started fighting in the UFC and you're starting to get a lot more attention in America? Do you notice a difference the way people treat you yet?
Считаешь ли ты, что твоя жизнь изменилась после того, как ты попал в UFC, после того, как начал драться в Америке, и то, как люди к тебе стали относиться, внимание фанатов?
Да, конечно, моя жизнь становится все интереснее, красочнее, и это после того, как я попал в UFC, вот. Да.
Yes, of course, like my life became more colorful and interesting after I joined UFC. Like I can feel the difference.
Would you ever consider moving your family to Thailand? It seems like a great life there so that you don't have to be away from them.
Когда-нибудь задумался о том, чтобы свою семью в Таиланд перевести и здесь вообще подольше?
Ну, да, бывает иногда, когда у нас в России зимой холодно, здесь в Таиланде очень тепло. Конечно, на зиму хочется сюда приезжать.
Yeah, you know, especially when it's winter in Russia and it's very cold, I'm thinking about moving here for duration of the winter because it's always very nice here, very cold in Russia.
Are you a football fan? Do you like football? Soccer?
Любишь футбол?
Ну, немножко, да, можно поиграть. Я люблю, в принципе, все игровые виды единоборств спорта.
Yeah, I like to play football sometimes. You know, I like to all kind of sports, different kind of sports. I like to play it, you know, not to watch.
Because now it occurred to me, Wayne Rooney. You know Wayne Rooney? You look exactly like Wayne Rooney as well. Wayne Rooney and Ricky Hatton. Did you ever get that before? You ever heard that?
Ты очень похож на футболиста Уэйна Руни и на боксера Хаттона. Кто-то тебе говорил раньше?
Да, мне об этом говорили много раз по поводу Руни. Вот. Ариэль, позови их на мой бой. Руни и Хаттона.
Yeah, a lot of people told me about like that I look like Wayne Rooney. So Ariel, please invite Wayne Rooney and Ricky Hatton. Invite them to my fight.
Oh, that would be amazing. You know, I appreciate that you think that I'm that connected, but in fact, no one knows me or likes me. So.
Скажи, что Руни уже старый, я могу лучше него играть в футбол и лучше Рики Хаттона боксировать.
Wayne Rooney is old already. I can play soccer better than him.
That is
Ricky
true.
Hatton is old too, and I can box better than him too. You know.
I agree on both of those. And by the way, I like that you did this. What is this? You're making fun of my nose? Is that what you were doing? The hook nose? Is that it? Petr Yan, he's got jokes. I like it.
Небольшая шутка была, вот.
Little joke.
That's why they call you No Mercy, right? Because no mercy, because you like to joke around with people. Yeah.
Да, скажи, я смотрел пару его передач, вот. Пусть он много надо мной не шутит.
Yeah, he said he used to watch a couple of your shows, so don't joke too much.
Okay.
With him.
Oh my gosh, that's great stuff. Petr, and by the way, it's not Petr Yan, it's Petr Yan, right? Did I get it right?
Yeah, very good. Petr Yan, yes.
Thank you. Yes, spasiba. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing this, and I look forward to being at your fight, June 8th, UFC 238, Chicago, Jimmy Rivera. That's a big one. By the way, can I get your prediction? Who do you think is going to win, Marlon Moraes or Henry Cejudo? Who's going to be the new champion?
Кто победит, Морайс или Секунду?
Я думаю, Морайс.
I think Marlon.
You think Marlon? Okay. And by the way, what do you think of TJ Dillashaw testing positive?
Что думаешь насчет TJ? Что он провалил бы.
Но это дело каждого, вот. Я думаю, взрослый парень сам разберется с этими делами.
It's his own business. He's a grown-up man, and he'll deal with it by himself.
All right. Fair enough. Petr, thank you very much. Sayat, thank you very much. And thank you to the great Danny Rubenstein as well for setting this all up. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, guys. But look at that.
Thank
I
you
love
so
it.
much, bro.
Yes.
See you later, bro.
Spasiba, my friend. Yes. Petr Yan, the man. No mercy. The Siberian gangster himself. I love it. Making fun of my nose. This is amazing. All right, here we go. Here's the lineup for UFC 238. Corporate Jake's telling me he's got it. But there it is. There it is. Henry Cejudo, Marlon Moraes. Bantamweight title on the line. Valentina Shevchenko against Jessica. And what about that promo that they aired on Saturday? Tony Ferguson and Donald Cerrone. They stole my line. Did you see that? People's main event. They actually used it in a promo. Rest assured, I came up with that line like 5 years ago. No one else said it before me. It was all me. But by the way, they say imitation is the best form of flattery, right? Isn't that what they say? I take it as a compliment that you use my line. I really do, because I think it's a great thing to call that fight the people's main event, because guess what? It is the people's main event. It's an amazing fight. And that promo was amazing as well. I was just kind of, I was caught off guard. I was taken aback. I didn't expect them to use that, them being the UFC in their promo. But it was nice. No one asked for my permission or anything like that. No one licensed it from me. But nevertheless, I thought it was nice. So no hard feelings, okay? And it was apropos. Anyway, thank you very much to Petr Yan. That's a great card. And by the way, the night before UFC 238, as I said earlier, we're going to have a live show for all of you in Chicago. Yes, the Helwani Roadshow. That's what I'm coining it. June 7th, Lincoln Hall, eventbrite.com. Eventbrite.com is where you can get tickets right now. Just type in Ariel Helwani, and the tickets will be yours for just $30. There's going to be guests there. We're going to have a meet and greet afterwards. We're going to have refreshments, all that stuff and more. Please do come. I'm a little worried that only like 3 people are going to show up, so please do come. It's going to be great. June 7th, Friday, the night before UFC 238. If you're looking for something to do, we're going to make it happen. All right? It's going to be great. The Helwani Roadshow. Come, hang out. It's going to be fun. All right. So in a matter of seconds, we're going to be joined by the great Tyson Fury. Yes, the actual Tyson Fury himself, the real guy, the Gypsy King. I can't wait for this. One of the great characters in combat sports. Yes, I know he's not an MMA fighter, but this was too good to pass up. He returns to action on June 15th. He's competing in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena against Tom Schwartz. It's going to be for his lineal heavyweight championship. It's going to air on ESPN Plus. So that's a huge coup for us. Of course, he's coming off that draw against Deontay Wilder back in December. What a fight that was. Great moment. Him knocking down Wilder, Wilder rising from the ashes, so to speak. That was incredible drama. And of course, Wilder just fought against Dominic Breazeale this past Saturday in Brooklyn and knocked him out in just a couple of minutes in the first round. Great call from Mauro Ranallo on Showtime. I'm sure by now you've seen that, so I can't wait to get Tyson's thoughts. He just posted on social media not that long ago that he was hanging out with Darren Till, so that's going to be a lot of fun. After Tyson Fury, we're going to be joined by Garry Tonon of One Championship fame, and of course, the grappling phenom himself. He's a member of One Championship, who had an event this past Friday, and he was successful in that event, so that was a very nice win, heel hook win for Garry Tonon. He's now 5-0. Raymond Daniels, Michel Pereira, Tyron Woodley, Rafael dos Anjos, Felicia Spencer, Jessica Andrade. They're all on tap on today's program, on this Victoria Day Monday here. Well, not in Canada, in the United States, but I'm celebrating Victoria Day, even though I'm not in Canada. But I am so excited to talk to Tyson Fury in a matter of moments, and a real-life legend, an icon. Like I said, one of the great characters in the sport of boxing right now, and dare I say, in combat sports. An inspiration, a man who we were unsure if he'd ever come back. He ballooned over 300 pounds. It seemed as though he was not going to be able to regain his old form, and then he came back against Deontay Wilder and was so close to shocking the world. I thought he won that fight, and then, of course, he returns to action on June 15th. us not waste any more time and say hello to the Gypsy King himself. Look at that man. Wow, what a suit that is. Incredible stuff. This is an absolute honor. Tyson, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, it is a pleasure. So, you know, we're a mixed martial arts show, Tyson, but I think that you transcend all combat sports. You're an icon. You're a great star. So it's such an honor to have you on the program. I know you've been doing some media today, so I'm sure you've been asked about this, but I would be remiss if we don't start with this. Deontay Wilder's knockout on Saturday. How impressed were you?
Very impressed. You know, Deontay Wilder's got a lot of power, and if you stand in front of him, he will knock you out. And that's what Brazil did, and he paid the price.
Do you feel like, in a way, that knockout, and considering how quick it came, is actually a good thing for you? Because you stood in there, you took all his shots, and of course, he couldn't do that to you, so it almost ups your stock in a weird way?
Not really, because styles do make fights, and different styles react different to different fighters. So you can't really go too much on the performance over Dominic Brazil compared to mine, because Dominic's got a totally different style to me. And like I say, what style might work for Dominic Brazil may not necessarily work for someone like myself.
He took a lot of heat before the fight about some of his comments about wanting a body on his record, wanting to kill Brazil.
Yeah.
What did you make of all of that?
I didn't buy into it too much, because a lot of fighters have to create opinions and try and sell themselves and get people talking about the stuff. So they do crazy things. So I know Deontay Wilder's not a bad man, and he's a family man. He doesn't want to kill anybody. So I don't read too much into it, but nevertheless, it is a combat sport, and people do happen to die in the ring now and again. But it's not a nice thing to do, because when two men's in there fighting for their life, the last thing you need is someone to get severely injured or worse.
How close were you guys to actually rematching right away after your great fight back in December?
We were very close to a rematch. We had contracts, they had contracts, we were trying to agree terms. Then all of a sudden I had a massive deal from ESPN, and they made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Wow.
No pun intended.
So you actually had the contract for the rematch. When would that have been?
That would have been in May, I believe.
Wow. And so you were the one who walked away from the deal?
Deontay Wilder apparently signed a 3-fight deal before I signed an ESPN deal.
Okay.
He signed a deal to fight Dominic Brazil, Luis Ortiz, and Adam Kavosky. So this is all done before we even put pen to paper.
And how many fights is your ESPN deal for?
I've got a few fights, yeah, on ESPN. And hopefully I'll stick with ESPN throughout my full career.
And so for as long as you are with ESPN and he has his deal with Showtime, will you guys never fight? Is there no way that you could...
No. If the fighters are willing to fight, then why should a network get in the way?
Right.
Fighters use that as an excuse, a.k.a. Anthony Joshua. He uses that a lot as an excuse. But I believe if the fighters really want to fight each other, as I proved, I was on BT Sport. I came over to the United States and boxed on Showtime. You know, these fights can happen. Why can they not do a dual broadcast? It's been done before. It'll happen again. Deontay Wilder cannot run from Tyson Fury forever. The fight has to happen.
Do you think that if you win on June 15th, that there's a chance of rekindling this flame and doing the rematch?
This rematch has got to happen. Got to happen, but it won't be in May, June, July, or August. This fight, I'm being told, is likely to happen in March, April of next year.
Oh, really? Why
Yeah.
March, April?
I've no idea. Well, that's the dates I've been given.
Okay. And where would it be?
I've no idea.
Okay. But you would probably fight, if all goes well on June 15th against Schwartz, you'll probably fight in between then, correct?
I'll probably have another couple of fights in between then, if all goes well.
You want to be active?
I want to be active. I'm not playing anybody else's games. You know, I've got to think about me and my career and my family and my life. I'm not going to put my career on hold because I'm waiting for XYZ people to take fights. You know, I'm taking my career in my own hands, and destiny, I hold them in both hands. And when the time's right, we'll do the fight.
Are you worried that after what happened on Saturday and Joshua fighting in just a couple of weeks, that they'll try to make that fight now and that you'll be the odd man out?
Oh, I'm not worried at all. I'm the Gypsy King. I'm the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. All roads lead to Tyson Fury. No matter who wins out of them two, they can never be considered the best heavyweight unless they beat me. You know, I hold the lineal championship of the world. And to be the man of their era, they have to beat Tyson Fury. And nobody's managed to do it in 29 fights so far.
How do you feel about Anthony Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn. I've seen on social media you're kind of going back and forth with him, his father as well. How do you feel about him? Do you feel like he's the roadblock in all of this?
I'm not too sure. You know, promoters do their job and the fighters do their job. But as for me to get involved with arguing back and forth with some nonsense over rubbish, really, with Eddie Hearn and his dad, it is what it is. You know, what I suggest Anthony Joshua does is get his nuts out of Eddie Hearn's handbag and use them to gain respect in the heavyweight division.
If you were presented both opportunities, the rematch against Wilder, the mega fight against Joshua, both mega fights really, but the opportunity to fight Joshua, which interests you more right now?
I'm not really too bothered. I'm only concentrating on June the 15th at the moment. I can't underestimate Tom Schwartz because at the end of the day, this is his welcome to the big time party. He knows if he can beat me, then riches awaits him and stardom. So I'm not going to underestimate Tom Schwartz because he could potentially be a banana skin for me to lose and gain what I've worked hard for all this time.
The last I checked, I think you're a minus 6,000 favorite going into this fight. Does that play tricks on your mind? Everyone's saying like, oh, you're just going to walk through this guy. You're such a huge betting favorite. Everyone talks.
I don't go with what people say. I'm not a sheep. I'm a leader. So whatever people say, I go the opposite. Because everyone said I was getting knocked out by Deontay Wilder. Everyone said the bookies, every boxing journalist in the world said I was getting knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko. But I keep defining the odds. So if I can do it, then so can anybody else if they believe it enough. So I just don't go with what people say. I have to be proven. These facts have to be proven to me. And we'll see what Tom Schwartz is made of. And I don't know how anyone could be made a 6,000 to 1 underdog on a boxing fight in heavyweight division because we know it only takes one punch and it's over. This is heavyweight boxing.
As you know, the sport of MMA and the sport of boxing, while similar in terms of like what actually goes on in the ring or cage, the structure is completely different, right? We were just talking about the promoters and the networks. Our sport is different. And Teddy Atlas recently said that, you know, he wishes that boxing was more like MMA, where it was like these different organizations. And I think a lot of people, including myself, actually, I disagree with Teddy Atlas. I think boxing's model, while it can be filled with politics and all these issues that we were just talking about, is actually healthier for the boxers themselves to make the most amount of money possible. Do you agree with Teddy? Like, do you think that it would be better if boxing was more like MMA in terms of the structure, or do you disagree?
I'm not really too sure. It's opinions again, isn't it? Somebody's opinion. And if you asked 100 people that same question, I'm sure everybody would have a different opinion on the situation. But that's Teddy's opinion, and I respect that because he's a very knowledgeable man in the fight game.
What about your opinion?
You know, there's a lot of different organisations in boxing, and every one of them have a different set of rules. So whichever organisation you're working with at the time, you have to adhere to those rules. And at the end of the day in boxing, sooner or later the big fights do happen, as we've seen time and time again. Sometimes we have to wait a while, but nothing of any good happens overnight. Everything good in life we have to wait for. So when it finally does happen, these big fights, we must enjoy them while they're here.
Are you an MMA fan?
Yeah, I love watching MMA fights. I think it's very exciting, especially when the guys are standing up exchanging punches. I'm not so big of a fan when it's rolling up and down the floor. I like it when they stand up and kick and punch each other. I think that's really exciting.
Are you a fan of Conor McGregor? He has not fought as much these days and has gone in some trouble here and there as far as outside of the cage stuff. What do you make of what has become of him right now?
I think Conor's transcended the game of MMA. He set precedents. He's set the game on fire. I think MMA, he's definitely a game changer in MMA. He's crossed over, he's fought Mayweather, he's become a massive superstar. He's done very, very well. He should be very proud of himself. And, you know, everybody has troubles in life, and it's not what troubles we have, but it's how we overcome these troubles and learn from them.
I understand recently you met up with another great MMA fighter, Darren Till, and you both were very complimentary of each other on social media. How did that come about?
Yeah, we were both in Manchester recently, having a little walk around, and I bumped into Darren Till. Me and Darren signed both with BT Sport in the UK. I'm from Manchester, he's from Liverpool, not too far apart. And I'm a fan of Darren Till. I like his attitude towards the game, and he's been a luck his last couple of fights. But, you know, it's like I say, anyone can lose to a better man on the night. And it's not how we lose, but how we come back from it. That shows our character.
Could you tell me who's on your suit jacket over there? What is that? It's hard for me to see.
Yeah, I have a list of lineal heavyweight champions from the past.
That's incredible.
A lot of guys on there.
Wow. And are you on there as well? I mean, I see your logo there. Is your picture on there too?
Yeah, there's a picture of there on me as well. We're holding all the belts. George Foreman, Mike Tyson, Holyfield.
I love it.
Holmes, Spinks.
Who made that for you?
I have a tailor who made this, designed it for me. We was going for something flamboyant this year, so we have plenty of show-stopping suits, all in time for Las Vegas.
I love it. And your story is as inspirational as it gets. I'm wondering, after the Wilder fight, you said all the right things. I mean, it was just amazing to see all the weight that you lost and your mind, how you changed your mind and everything like that. Did you ever, are things going well for you? Are there ever moments where you feel yourself getting down again, where you have to sort of, get yourself back up? You need someone to help you. How are you doing mentally these days?
Mental illness never goes away. You can't defeat it. You got to learn to manage and maintain, and I seem to be doing a good job of that at the moment. I train on a daily basis, even whether I'm boxing or I'm not. That's my medication. And it seems to work. And I'd encourage anybody who's suffering with mental health problems to take up working out, because it sets off an endorphin in the brain and it gives you that feel-good factor.
How much do you expect to weigh for this fight against Tom Schwartz?
I'm not too sure, really. The weight is very unimportant to me. As heavyweight, you can weigh whatever you want. Whatever I feel good at, wherever I feel strong and fit at, is what I'll weigh. I'm weighing about 270 pounds at the moment. I've still got 4 weeks to go, so naturally when you're training twice a day, 6 days a week, you lose a couple of pounds, so probably 265, I'd say.
The reason I asked is because you appear, I've seen a lot of your videos, you appear to be in phenomenal shape these days, and so I was wondering if you were slimmer or were going to be slimmer.
No, I'm not slimmer. I'm the same weight as I've been for a while.
Okay.
But I've just maintained this weight for a long period of time now, so you fill out and you get stronger at the weight.
Have you ever heard of a heavyweight MMA fighter named Francis Ngannou? Are you familiar with him?
Francis Ngannou's African guy, puncher, isn't he?
Yeah.
I've seen him, yeah.
I was told through the grapevine that he fancies a fight against you, a MMA versus boxing fight, and I was wondering what you thought of that, if that was something you would entertain.
Entertain what? Me going into MMA or him coming into boxing?
Him coming to boxing.
I don't see it as a challenge. When you've got the heavyweight champions of the world who can't challenge me in a boxing match, I doubt an MMA fighter can challenge me in a boxing match. Just like I probably couldn't challenge him in an MMA fight. Right. It's a different sport completely. Although it's stand-up contact, it's total different. Boxing is not MMA and MMA is certainly not boxing. It's totally two different games. And as we've seen time and time again, when an MMA fighter goes over to boxing, they lose. And when a boxer goes to MMA, they lose. So it's not a game where you can be a world champion boxer and a world champion MMA fighter. I don't think it really works. Two different games.
And I understand.
Horses for courses.
Right, of course. And I have a hard time disagreeing with you on that one as well. I understand your younger brother, is a boxer as well, but he's also somewhat of a heartthrob, right? He's going to be on some sort of reality show, island show or something like that. Is that accurate? Yeah,
he's going on a TV show called Love Island.
Wow.
He's a good-looking young kid.
Unbelievable.
And I think he's going to be a little hit with the ladies on it.
He is something else.
He clearly doesn't look like me because I look like an ogre.
I think you're being hard on yourself, but wow, I saw photos of him. I mean, he's a showstopper, that guy. Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, he's only just started his professional career. He's 2-0 at the moment. He's only 19 years old, so big future, but it's going to take a lot of sacrifice and dedication to achieve goals.
And if you don't mind me asking, you both share the same parents?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Well, he's a light heavyweight size.
Right. I just, I maybe if you like cut his hair or something, you kind of look similar, but you don't totally look similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Right. Well, what else are you doing in New York? Do you have a lot of more media? Do you have promo shoots? What do you got lined up?
I've been doing media since 8 o'clock this morning. I think we've got till 4:30 and then we're off to Vegas. Just get back into training for the fight.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, all the media is good, but you go in there and get knocked out. It's not what you want to do, is it?
That's right. And I'd be remiss if I don't ask you before I let you go, because I know we have to wrap this up, if you can just join me in this. I don't know if you're in the mood right now, but I'm just going to try, okay, Tyson? I hope you don't hate me for this. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Join my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Come on, Tyson, let's hear it. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die." Yes, Tyson.
This'll be the day that I die.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks for
Tyson.
having me on the show.
Thank you, Tyson. All the best to you,
See
June
you all
15th.
soon, 15th of June.
All
all
right.
the best.
Thank you. There he
Bye-bye.
is, the Gypsy King himself, Tyson Fury. Wow. That's a dream come true right there. That's a bucket list thing. Remember when he did that after the Wilder fight? What a bloke. What a good guy. And so there you have it. That was a lot of fun. ESPN Plus, Tom Schwartz, minus 6,000. What a coup for ESPN to get Tyson Fury on their roster. I'm looking forward to that. Again, June 15th. No UFC that weekend, so you can enjoy. All right. Now, we move things along. Like I said, this past Friday, One Championship had another event. A lot of people buzzing over what happened to Sage Northcutt, but I was buzzing earlier after Garry Tonon improved to 5-0. Each and every time he competes in mixed martial arts, he does something even more spectacular. This time it was a heel hook. And the best part about Garry Tonon is that every single one of his fights look completely different, because every time he fights, he looks completely different. It's an amazing thing. He's a true chameleon. Let's say hello to him right now. He joins us via the magic of Skype. There he is, Garry Tonon. Garry, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you guys?
I honestly have never met an individual like you, Garry Tonon. And I like to say your full name. I don't just like to say Garry, because Garry Tonon just sort of like rolls off the tongue. You look different every time I see you. Like, I feel like you look different right now than you did on Friday. How do you pull this off?
Yeah, for sure. I basically just didn't get a haircut for like 3 months, and then I just got one, so I'm not too surprised that I look a little different. It's
amazing. And like one time you look like Wolverine, another time you got the shaved head. It's just incredible. So keeping us on our toes. I like that. In addition to what you're doing in fighting,
the police can't recognize me.
That's right. This was phenomenal. Heel hook submission. Were you going for that?
In a way, yes. I mean, it's something that we train all the time, but it's not going into the fight. I wasn't thinking, oh man, I'm going to get a single leg pull Ashigurami and submit the guy. A lot of people ask me if that was the plan, and I always say, I've been saying lately that was like plan C, maybe, as far as what I thought would happen during the fight.
55 seconds in, and sometimes in this particular case, it's better for you that it happened early because he wasn't sweaty, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, definitely helps a little bit with the traction for sure. Sometimes people are greased too, that makes it worse. Thankfully, I haven't had any problems with that in this organization, but I've had many problems with that in my grappling career. So, yeah, definitely a little bit easier when it's dry out there.
For this particular event, you guys were competing in a ring. And I still haven't been able to figure out, was it because there were some kickboxing matches on the card as well?
Yeah, I think for the kickboxing Grand Prix, they were probably trying to keep it in a ring, just to keep it a little bit more standard. I can't say for sure. I do know that there are certain countries that they always compete in a ring. Singapore is not usually one of them. Singapore, they usually do it in a cage. I found it interesting that they did some title fights in MMA in the ring, though. Like, for instance, Christian Lee and Shinya Aoki. I mean, that was a title fight. Usually with the title fights, they try to keep everything standardized, you would think, right? So
right.
That's news to me for the future as far as how the title runs go and everything like that. But, yeah, they switch back and forth in this organization between rings and cage because they do put on other martial arts, which I think is cool. I didn't know what to make of a ring, really, until I got in there. Because I honestly, leading up to it, usually I try to prepare in whatever environment I'm going to compete in, but Renzo's doesn't have a very big ring. It's kind of small, so I didn't find it valuable to spar in that, so I've just been sparring in the cage. I didn't really get any practice in a ring until I got to Evolve in Singapore, so I only really got like a week's worth of ring practice. But I have to say, the way that it's done with 5 ropes, and the ropes are very tight, it's not as bad as I thought it would be initially going in, and I kind of liked it in a way. You get a little bit of bounce off the ropes that you wouldn't normally get in a cage, and helps with certain takedowns and stuff. I didn't really need it in my fight, but
Yeah.
I could see in the future fights it possibly helping out, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask if that affected your game plan or your mindset going into the fight. I'm assuming you knew prior that it was going to be in a ring, right?
Yeah, they told me well ahead of time. They gave me plenty of time to say. They told it as soon as I signed the fight, like in the contract, it says that it's in a ring.
Okay.
So I knew going into it. We did do a little bit of prep here and there, and kind of noted some differences and things like ring control changes a little bit than as opposed to cage control because you can cut off the ring a little bit easier. So we went over some things for sure, to prepare for that. But I wouldn't say we prepared for it too differently. Like I said, until like the last week, I got a chance to like actually practice some of my technique on the ropes, but really didn't change game plan too much.
So that was your 5th pro win, all coming within like 14 or so months, all with one championship. How many more fights left on your one deal?
So I don't think I'm allowed to tell people that.
Oh, why? Why so secret?
I don't know. I just think that's in the contract that you're not supposed to talk about. Like, I'm probably the only one that abides by this stuff.
Okay, fair enough.
I read everything and I just do it straightforward. They may not care. I don't know. I plan to stay with them regardless. Yeah, man. I regardless of the terms of my contract, I plan to stay with these guys for a long time. I really like the organization. I really like the way my career's been going. They've been putting new challenges in front of me every single fight. And I really have no reason to worry about the terms of my contract other than, maybe making more money in the future.
Okay, well, I was going to ask if you were happy and if they were treating you well. It sounds like they are. Recently, they came out with this thing, and I don't know if you've paid too much attention to it. This agent certification thing, where your representation now has to have 10 years of experience and live in Asia and all this stuff. How do you feel about this, and does this affect you in any way?
Yeah, I think it was sparked by some run-ins that they may or may not have had with some guys trying to do some shady deals with their athletes. So I kind of understand where they're going with this. Fighting is a weird thing, man. It's tough because it's not unionized in any way, so there's really no way to like fully protect the athletes. And I think this is their best shot at that. I see what they're trying to do. I also see why some people have some criticisms. I've literally just had my hand over the camera for the whole time. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
I see what they were trying to do, but I do see the criticism. Especially the thing about people having to live in Asia and stuff like that. I think people reading it as a super strict policy. I think I could understand. I think they're going to be a little bit more loose with it than people think. I don't think they're going to abide by every single piece of it. Because as it reads, it makes it seem like the organization is just basically going to pick their management or could do that, based off of the way that it's read. I don't really think they're looking to do that. I just think they're looking to try to weed out, use some of these standards to weed out some of these shady characters that are basically just like stealing money from guys, So it doesn't really affect me much,
Okay.
They haven't said anything to me about my current management or anything like that, so I'm not too worried.
After the fight, you posted on Twitter that not only are you going to be known as the greatest featherweight of all time, you're going to be known as the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time. And I know you are a very confident guy. I never heard you say, and I apologize if you've said this in interviews, but I've never read it and seen you actually put it out there like that. Why did you feel like now was the time to do that?
Oh, I didn't. I told everybody since the beginning that I was just getting started in mixed martial arts, and as I had more and more experience, I would tell you guys more and more about how I felt. And my first fight, I didn't necessarily say things like that. In my 5th fight, do I think I'm the greatest pound for pound of all time? Do I think I'm the greatest featherweight of all time? No. Those are my goals. That's as it reads. But I didn't even say that those are my goals until 5 fights in. Why? Because everybody talks. People come into my gym every day telling me that they're going to be the next, UFC champion. And they tell me about all these things that they want to do and goals that they want to accomplish in jiu-jitsu and things. And don't get me wrong, I want to know what my students' goals are. But, let's take it one step at a time, So now that I've had about 5 fights, I'll start to let people know what my plans are, for the division, what my plans are for the future in mixed martial arts. And I figured that would be a good way to kind of put it out there and just set it as a goal for myself.
So 5-0. 5 finishes, either via TKO or submission, all very impressive, like I said, in 14 months. Is it fair to say or not that this is going better than you originally thought, or did you really expect it to go this way, that you would be this dominant thus far?
Oh, it's definitely fair to say that this is going better than I would have originally thought, because I didn't know what to think. I mean, mixed martial arts was brand new to me. Yeah, I had no idea, where I was going to be able to take it. And you see all kinds of crazy things happen in mixed martial arts, man. Sage is a great fighter. You were just talking about people saying things, wondering what's going on with Sage and with his most recent defeat and everything. And, man, one punch, broke his face in like 8 places. And he's in a hospital for like 3 weeks, man. Stuff like that happens. And it could happen to me in the future. I'm not discounting it. All my fight preparation, everything like that is to hopefully prevent that from happening. But it's a crazy sport, dude. So, yeah, anything short of, me breaking my face and being in the hospital is a great experience as far as I'm concerned, But for me to have these many dominant performances and my most recent win being in under a minute by submission, I couldn't be more happy.
And would you say that you're enjoying the process more than you expected as well?
Oh man, it gets better with every day for sure, because I'm getting hit less.
Yeah.
I'm learning the sport. I'm learning to defend myself more. I'm learning how to rest. I'm learning how to set things up a lot better with the striking to grappling transitions. So it's not. I don't have to take as much of a beating to get into a takedown. I don't. If I'm tired, I know how to safely clinch someone and safely exit a clinch, and like all these things that previously, when these kind of things would happen, if I would get tired or if I didn't really know what I was doing, every time the consequence is getting punched in the face. It's not like jiu-jitsu where you make mistakes and you just tap. So the training doesn't get any easier. Like I'm still just as exhausted every day. Like the training schedule is super strict, and like I took 2 fights back to back basically in the most recent fight camps. So that's super stressful on my body, but still I just say overall training I think gets easier just because I know how to protect myself, and if I don't want to get hit, I can choose not to essentially.
Right. Do you want to keep this pace up, or do you want to take a little bit of a break now?
Man, I like the idea of keeping the momentum going. It's one thing when there's something 6 months away.
Yeah.
I'm definitely, there's a certain amount of motivation and dedication I'm always going to have regardless of whether or not there's an opponent in front of me. But there's something about something being just around the corner, 8 weeks away, 12 weeks away, that just gives you that little extra push, gives you a little bit more momentum and motivation to maybe do a little bit more tape study or take your diet a little bit more seriously or exercise routine a little bit more seriously. So I feel as though doing those 2 fights back to back made me rapidly improve more so in those 4 to 5 months than in previous months in my career where there wasn't something right around the corner. So I like the idea. They want me to get right back in there as soon as possible. We don't have anything signed yet. They don't have an opponent named yet or anything like that. But they told me sometime within the next 8 weeks they would be happy to have me fight again.
You've been to events in America. I've never been to a card in Singapore and a lot of these places that you're fighting in Asia. Do you notice a difference in the crowd, in the way that they appreciate what you're doing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that the American crowd is always just a little bit more rough and tumble when it comes to, screaming things from the stands. I would say that basically, there are some Asian audiences that are a little bit more quiet, particularly like in Japan. But there's a good mix. But the one thing I will say is that in general, I see a lot less of the negativity per se that you would see in the U.S. Not as many people booing, not as many people, saying as many negative things as you would hear perhaps in the U.S. And I don't know. I know that as from a fan's perspective, it's not always meant as like a personal thing, but you still notice it. People with a lot of booing and even just during fights, not because they don't appreciate something about somebody's character, just because they don't like the way that a fight's done. You don't really see that as much with these fights, even if there was some grappling going on, and in the U.S. people think that's boring. They'll start booing and telling people to stand them up. Like I don't think you see that as much from the Asian audience. That would be the biggest difference I would note.
Okay. From what I understand, you're in England right now, getting Nicky Ryan ready for his Polaris match against Uriah Faber. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate, man. We just flew in. It's like a 13-hour flight over here. Then I think 2.5 hours by car to get over to Poole, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm feeling pretty fat because I've been eating like an animal since my fight. So I just went for like a 30-minute run before this interview. But yeah, other than that, everything's going pretty well. And getting some training sessions in every day with Nicky, and just getting him ready for that match, man. He's feeling like a real killer. I was watching him train with Gordon the other day, and Gordon almost had a heart attack. So that's always a good thing.
And for those who are unfamiliar with Nicky Ryan, he is 17, correct? He looks like a 17-year-old, but he is a phenom, a prodigy when it comes to jiu-jitsu. His brother Gordon Ryan also, and I saw a picture of Gordon with Chatri Sityodtong. Is he going to join you over there in one championship?
I think Gordon definitely sees that as a possibility. I think that him coming out to Singapore, which is difficult to get Gordon to travel internationally, he doesn't usually like that, but he's going to have to if he plans on fighting with one, obviously. But I think the fact that he came out there and had that talk with Chatri means that it's one step closer to happening. He may even take grappling matches out there. Just like I did. I took one grappling match before I started my MMA career with one. So I think that's something to look forward to. Nothing's set in stone yet, but I definitely think they're laying the foundation out there just by having that meeting and talking to each other. I really think just in having a personal conversation with Chatri before I signed with one was one of the things that made me even more confident in the organization. He's a really unique guy, but a really genuine guy. So hopefully Gordon feels the same way. I'm obviously pushing him that direction because of my own experiences, but we'll see what he ends up deciding. He's a young kid. He's got a long career ahead of him in both grappling or mixed martial arts, whatever he decides to go with. He also just got injured recently, so he's coming back from that. I think realistically, if we're going to see Gordon fighting like MMA, it probably won't be till sometime next year, regardless. But yeah, man, it's pretty cool if he was over in one, that'd be awesome for both of us to be able to have the fights out there, travel back and forth to Asia together and stuff. That would be great.
I am fascinated by Nicky, just given his age and like the way he looks and the way he competes is just incredible. And he's going up against a 40-year-old in Uriah Faber. For those that don't know and aren't watching a clip of him right this second, in your opinion is the best to ask. What makes him so special? Have you ever seen a kid this young be this good at jiu-jitsu? Man,
it's crazy. It's a combination of things. It's a combination of Nicky's personality, he himself, and it's also with the addition of, I think, John Danaher's ability to teach people in a very quick fashion. I think you started out with some good working material in Nicky, because man, when I met that kid, he was 13 years old. He was very overweight, but other than that, like when you spoke to him, just mentally, I could tell that he was so mature. Like I don't know how old I was at the time, whatever, but I was in my 20s. And I felt in certain ways that, like, more mentally, like the kid was already more mature than me, which was so weird to talk to like a 13-year-old and be like, man, like I feel like this kid has it together more than I do. So, in that sense, like more so than any kid that age, you had a kid that could be molded into what he is today. And then when he started training with me first, and then when we brought him finally up to Henzo's with John, just the way that he teaches with the systems and the scientific approach that he takes to things, people just get better very, 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 very fast. You take a look at Gordon being an ADCC champ in like under 6 years, I think. Even myself, now I've been training for a long time before that, but you can see a huge change in my game in a very short period of time, in about 5 years. in terms of my submission percentages and everything going up. So he just has the ability to affect people in a very quick period. And then Nicky, winning a spot in ADCC, the most recent ADCC trials in a very short period of time. I don't know, Nicky's probably 5 years maybe training total. Again, same thing. But yeah, I can't just attribute his success to, just one or the other. I'm not going to say it was just John, because it definitely takes a special type of individual to be able to come into the gym every day and work as hard as he has. He actually dropped out of school, which not a lot of people know. That wasn't my intention, but that's what he wanted to do, so I'm not his dad. I can't make those decisions for him, but I have to say, for somebody who did that, it's not like he just was chilling on the couch all day. Like, the kid would come to training with us all day, every day, sometimes even come back to Brunswick and train at my school at night. So he's spending his time wisely working and perfecting his craft. And I think it really shows the type of dedication that he has. And I'm really proud of him. And I can't wait to see. He's already done more than I had at the point in time where he is. And I'm looking forward to him doing even more with grappling than I ever did also. Same as his brother. Do
you think he'll ever go to MMA as well?
Nicky right now isn't too ecstatic about the idea of MMA. I think he's kind of like me. When I see things like that happen, like what happened with Sage, and, John will send me a video clip of people getting head kick KO'd, and it just looks like they die on the canvas. Like,
yeah.
It makes me wonder what the hell I'm doing in this martial art. But I think when he sees stuff like that, he's not too interested in it. And, nowadays, grappling is more of a realistic profession than it was back in the day. Even when I started, it was kind of like a big boom where professional grappling became a thing, that people could make money doing it. Before that, it was only teaching that you could make money. So I think he sees that now. I think he sees that he has a career in an area where he doesn't have to get punched in the face, and that's appealing to him. And I can't really blame him, to be honest. Like I said, I have the same thoughts myself sometimes with some of the things that I see in MMA. And that's why I train so hard every day to make sure to try to decrease that probability, because at the end of the day, it's always a possibility. Like we saw, just one punch. It wasn't like Sage did anything crazy wrong or anything like that. And that could be it, man. So, whatever he wants to do with his career, I'm happy with. I think that if he just sticks with grappling, he's going to be one of the greatest grapplers on earth, and I'm looking forward to seeing the kind of innovations he makes in that area.
Well, congratulations, my man, on a great start to your career. It's been amazing to watch you in a little over a year do what you've been doing. Every time it's really highlight reel stuff, and this Friday was no exception. So I know you had to move some things around to do this, to come live on the show today. I really appreciate it, Garry. Again, congrats. Good luck to you and the team this weekend against Uriah Faber. I can't wait for that. Polaris, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to talking to you again. I wish you continued success in your MMA career.
Yeah, man, thank you so much. Thanks for supporting me and the team. And it was a pleasure to be on. Happy to move things around anytime you want me on here, buddy.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you again.
Thank you, Garry. All the best to you. There he is, Garry Tonon, one championship star, 5-0. If you have not been watching his fights, you are missing out. And do yourself a favor. No big UFC this weekend, but they certainly have a great match between Nicky Ryan and Uriah Faber on UFC Fight Pass this weekend. I can't wait for that in Polaris. That is grappling, so that should be a lot of fun. 17 against 40 this weekend in that match. So, wow, 17-year-old against a 40-year-old in Uriah Faber. Let's do the ad right after this interview here, because I don't want to keep our next guest waiting. If that's okay with you, Corporate Jake, is that all right? Or are you gonna report me to HR? There you go. Corporate Jake said we're okay. By the way, how about my bobblehead right here, courtesy of my friend Brandon Everett? Look at that, Chill and I bobblehead. You see that? Look at that, Ariel the bad guy. It's amazing. Also amazing, Raymond Daniels. I attended Raymond Daniels' MMA debut in 2008 for Strikeforce, and I was so excited about this. I was telling everyone about Raymond Daniels' next big MMA superstar, and it took him 11 years to have his second pro MMA fight, but holy smokes, did he make up for lost time just a couple weeks ago with one of the greatest knockouts that I've ever seen. Everyone's still buzzing. It may end up being the knockout of the year. Let's say hello to Raymond Daniels right now on the program. Raymond, how are you?
I'm doing great, Aaron, man. It's first of all, it's always an honor to talk to you, brother. And oh yeah, man, it's great to be on your show. And I almost remember that kind of that interview that we had all those years ago, like almost like it was yesterday, and that whole MMA experience that you were speaking of.
Do you remember that? We were in, I think, a Dave & Buster's in 2008. You were about to make your debut against Jeremiah Metcalf in Strikeforce. Do you remember any of this? I won't be offended if you say no.
Oh no! I actually do remember it because not a whole lot of people actually knew who I was back then. I was just kind of like this kickboxer guy, and you're always just so well versed with when it comes to just combat sports in general. And you actually knew who I was. And I was like, okay. So I remember you. I'm like, oh, this guy knows who I am at least. So I remember doing like the interview with you. Back then. So yeah, no, I definitely even knew who you were back then, brother.
Okay, so that didn't go your way. Like I said, 11 years later, it went your way in that fight a couple weeks ago. But why did you take such a long break in between fights? Why did you take 11 years?
Well, it took some time just as far as for growth for me. I mean, when I was a little bit younger, I didn't really enjoy as much as I didn't enjoy the grappling, and I didn't enjoy the wrestling as much. I really my forte is karate. So I really enjoyed doing the stand-up portion of everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where I could really display my true art form. So like for me, it was a whole lot more enjoyable to be able to stand up and kind of paint my masterpiece like that. So that's why it took me some time to do it. And then I've always had that in the back of my head because I went over to the MMA realm when I definitely wasn't ready like 11 years ago. So just as a martial artist, and that didn't go the way I wanted it to. So I always had that I wanted to come back to the MMA world to make sure I kind of rewrote history or rewrote that past mistake. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of has that little mistake that you ever make in life. And that was for me, it was to be able to go back and to be able to fix that. All
right. So are you going to stick around now for a bit?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I'm really enjoying the whole grind of the MMA and with the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling. As when I was younger, I didn't enjoy it so much. This time around, I'm actually really enjoying it, and I've got some amazing people around me that are really helping me with my learning curve, so that way I can catch up, so to speak, a lot quicker.
Okay, so that knockout against Wilker Barros just a couple weeks ago, was that a 720? Officially, what was that?
Officially, that was actually a cheese 720. Even though it came out with the punch, it was actually supposed to be a kick.
Oh, really?
So I was supposed to actually land a kick, yes, and it ended up being a punch, just for the simple fact that he disengaged and he created more space, and it would have been too far for me to throw the kick. So I closed the distance with my hands after I landed.
Wow. Okay, so this is something that you've actually worked on, like this particular sequence of events.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I throw in practice. Okay. And so funny story is my fiance Colby, we were actually in training the week of the fight. It's maybe 2 days before the fight. We're just doing some basic pad work and stuff, and so she didn't tell me this till after the fight. So during training camps, and I have it on video that I'm throwing the 720 kick and stuff. So that's what I was actually planning on doing. But I'm doing my training. She's like, she wanted to tell me, why don't you stop playing around? Because you're not going to ever do that type of move when you're actually out there fighting. And then not even 48 hours later, I actually go out and do the move that she was going to tell me that to stop playing around with. And she was she was super surprised that I actually went out there and did that, because obviously it's not something most people would ever go out there and imagine doing it. So, so I just like to go out there and try and do something a little bit more spectacular, something a little fancier than most people would only see in a movie.
So that actually, I think that explains it more now, because when you pull off the 720, there's a pause there. So you realize a punch would actually be better. That's why it didn't all kind of flow in one sequence.
Yeah, the reason why I kind of didn't flow in the reason why I was flowing like that is because originally, like I said, I wanted to throw a kick, but as I started spinning, I could feel him going out of range.
Wow. And
if I would have actually thrown a kick, I would have missed and been off balance, which then he could hit me like I hit him.
Yeah.
And obviously I don't want that to happen. So I didn't want to put myself in a position where I was at a disadvantage. And, so that's why I landed and followed through with the punch, and just happened to have a whole lot of torque and pop on the end of that thing. And,
Wow.
the rest is history.
Have you ever done it with a punch before, or was that the first time?
I've done spin kicks, single spins to a punch before. I've had knockdowns from a single spin, but I wouldn't say that I've done a double spin to a punch. But I have done the double spin, and I can recognize if I am or am not going to hit my target. So a lot of times I'll stop, but because I was so close and in a good position, I felt I could follow up.
Is there any way that you can actually put into words what that feels like to nail the spin and then nail the punch like that, and he goes down, you walk away? Like, that just seemed like the cleanest knockout ever. And you could see, like, in your demeanor, like, you feel good in that moment. But, like, what is the feeling when you connect and the guy just crumbles to the ground? Is there any way you can describe that?
Oh man, it's hard to explain. Everybody, I mean, the feeling, the emotion of it all was just like, just an unbelievable one to know that I actually like landed when I threw the punch. Everybody's like, "Oh man, how's your hand?" And and I'm like, actually, I didn't really feel anything. It almost, felt like when you a hot knife through butter, and it just sliced through. And I turned because when you're throwing a punch, you don't know, what the outcome a lot of times is going to be. A lot of people are like, "Oh, this is lucky or that's lucky," but for me, I look at it like, every time a person throws a punch in a fight, they didn't throw it accidentally. They threw it with a purpose to land. Some of them happen to land and happen to, put the person out. So when I landed that, I turned immediately because I thought he was going to, if you look, I threw the punch and I turned back towards him immediately to see if he's going to be responding, but I just see his body crumble and I'm like, wow, okay. And then for me, I like to walk out because anything that I do for me is sometimes it's surprising to other people, but for me, there are things that I practice, that I envision in my mind over and over. So it's an outcome that I've already kind of foreseen. So I'm not the guy that's going to run or jump on the fence, all that good stuff. I'll just, kind of embrace in the moment. And it honestly really didn't hit me that it happened until I was on the plane home that I actually did a 720 punch on national television. And I was just like, wait a minute, I actually did do that. And that did get caught on camera. So it was a pretty exciting time. And people were like, oh my gosh, that's like the knockout of the century. I'm like, I felt like I've experienced that before when I did my spin sidekick when I was with Glory. Everybody called that the knockout of the century. So it was just as enjoyable and just, try and take it in stride. I'm not a guy that tries to believe your own hype or whatever the case is. It's something that you take and you continue to push forward with it. But great experience, and I'm still enjoying the process right now.
I remember that kick in Glory. This one, it feels like, social media has grown a lot, and there's, Instagram and the videos. And when that happened, within minutes, it was on every major social media account, ESPN, all this stuff. At what point do you realize, so you say that you're on the plane, but like, because I saw like Dwayne Wade commenting on it and like all these celebrities coming. I don't know if you noticed that as well. This is crazy stuff, the recognition that you're getting for an event, let's be honest, that was happening in England, that wasn't broadcast live here in the United States. And now all of a sudden, everyone here is talking about you. Did you get the sense even in the hours afterwards that this had exploded the way in which it did? Like, were you online? Were you getting feedback like that?
Well, I was over in the UK, and then for me that was one of the big things, like you're saying, is the first one was in kickboxing. This one is in MMA, which has a much larger platform and a much larger audience. And for me, I actually loved having an opportunity to fight on that particular weekend. Why? There were some UFC fights that were going on that weekend. I believe Canelo was fighting that weekend. And then I was on this Bellator UK card that was supposed to only be in the UK. It wasn't even really, supposed to kind of make waves, so to speak, over here in the States. And the entire card, first and foremost, was amazing. So for me I love to perform at my best. I have my peak performance when I'm on a stage or on a platform that is going to have other great fights and events, just so I can kind of showcase what it is that I do and the difference between what one person's, highlight reel or knockouts look like compared to mine. So, it hit me after as I was getting, that's what I said, as I was getting on the plane, people were hitting me up saying, oh my gosh, you're on ESPN. Hey, you got D Wade commenting. Hey, John Jones is hitting you up. They did this, Pierre, Ariel Helwani is hitting up. You just made SportsCenter. You're number 4. And and my phone is starting to blow up and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Like for me, I was just doing what I do. My karate students are hitting me up like, oh my gosh, Sensei, you're on TV, you're all over the internet. They're like, every time we type up anything, you're on Twitter, you're blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was a great experience, to be honest, to be like, wow. Like for me, it was, kind of, I think of it as like another day in the office, because for me, those are the type of moves that I enjoy. I really just enjoy doing those type of moves because, I love to display my style. You know what I mean? I know my style is totally different, totally unique. There are fighters that do have a similar style base, that come from a similar background from the sport karate background, like Stephen Thompson, Mike Page, some of those guys. I'm a little bit of a different of a beast when it comes to it and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I can go in and interpret my version of it to the world,
Do you feel like life has changed? Do you feel like people view you in a different way? Do you feel like you're getting noticed more now?
Yeah, there's definitely there's a lot more notoriety. Sometimes like I said, like the martial arts kickboxing side it would be my first, forte. But since this happened in the MMA world, there's been a whole different form of recognition and notoriety that has come with this. There was definitely more eyes on it and stuff. So yes, it's been a really big difference. And then for me, I feel like these type of things I've actually been doing, pretty much my entire career. So it's awesome to finally start to feel a little bit, feel a little bit of that, So, very fortunate and blessed in that regard to be able to actually reap some of the rewards of all the hard work that I've been doing over the years.
I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about Sage. You mentioned that you are engaged to his sister, Colby. He fought in one championship this Friday and suffered a gruesome knockout loss to Cosmo Alexander. And I saw on social media that he posted that he had a 9-hour surgery, suffered 8 facial fractures. I know you were with him in the hospital. I know you're back home now, but you were with him in the hospital. Yeah. Could you tell us how he's doing? How are things going?
Yeah. We're actually fresh off the plane, honestly, from Singapore. Something like that, first and foremost, is something that is scary, and thank God that he's, came through the surgery and stuff very safe. It was definitely a scary time for kind of like the family, and we're in a sport that's very, very dangerous and stuff in that regards. But he's doing okay. He had a surgery. The surgery, I won't disclose too much of it or whatever the case, but it was supposed to be a 4-hour surgery, and it ended up being a 9-hour surgery. So, there was not any type of complications or anything like that. It just ended up being a little more, for the doctor staff have to do out there, the doctors and everybody in the staff over at One Championship, which is not an organization or anything, but they are doing an amazing job of being helpful and helping out. And Sage is probably the most optimistic and strongest person I could ever imagine. Most people if they go through any type of traumatic experience like that, there's some type of downside or whatever the case is. But Sage is his positivity, his energy is like unmatched and it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? He's just already looking at the bright side of life, and even before the surgery actually happened. So he took it in stride. It's an unfortunate thing. He's a young fighter. Went against a veteran, made a little bit of a mistake, and that's the price you pay. Is sometimes you end up having to pay that price, and unfortunately, he had to go through that. But he's doing okay. He's in great spirits. So we just continue to send our love and our prayers towards him and stuff like that. And we wish we actually could have stayed out with him in Singapore, but he's already made it through the surgery and he's doing a whole lot better. So he's looking great right now.
That is great to hear, and certainly share those good wishes. I agree with you. I mean, you obviously know him way better than I do. I think he might be the most positive and nicest human being that I've ever come across in my life. So I'm not surprised to hear him handling this like that. You probably knew Cosmo Alexander from the kickboxing world, and him having to fight at a weight class up at 185. Do you feel like were you worried about this fight? I know some people were saying in hindsight like it wasn't the right fight to debut with. Do you feel like it was a mistake in hindsight to take this fight in the first one championship fight?
Every fighter goes out and they prepare themselves to the best of their ability. I'm not necessarily one who chooses or doesn't choose as far as Sage's matchups and stuff like that. I think Sage is perfectly capable of doing so much. It's always easy, I think, for people to kind of like Monday night quarterback something when they say a person should have done this or shouldn't have done that. Remember when I was even a police officer for many years, I always felt like that was one of the things that people always do. They can look back on something that somebody did and they can always point fingers and try and point out things. But no, I don't think that, everything is supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen. And unfortunately, this is something that he had to go through in life to make him come back to be stronger. So I wouldn't be pointing fingers or say it was a mistake from anybody or anything like that. It's just an unfortunate event that happened. And then, he's kind of just dealing with it, and I think he'll be back and stronger than ever. But I don't think I do know that Cosmo was obviously a dangerous opponent. Even if I was fighting Cosmo, he'd be a strong, tough opponent for me to have to do, even if it was just a kickboxing match or an MMA match. So I don't necessarily like to say it was necessarily a mistake or anything like that from anybody. It's just an unfortunate event that actually happened. With what we do.
Do you know how long he has to stay in Singapore for?
I know. I think he has to be there for about a week or two.
Okay. And
then after that, he'll be able to come home, and we're looking forward to kind of getting him back over here on this side of the world. Places, everything's always brighter with Sages in the picture. You know what I mean?
That's
it's
right.
Always, room's warmer, so I always got much more energy with him. So we already miss him, and looking forward to having him back home sooner than later. And he just has to make sure everything is cleared up. The doctors were amazing over there. So just make sure he's okay to fly home, just because with all the altitude and the air pressure when you're flying and stuff like that. So they want to make sure that he's 100% and ready to go. And that's about it.
When's your next fight? Do you know yet?
Right now, honestly, I don't have anything on the books. I actually would have liked to go and get back in there again, but I'll be getting married coming up here on the 24th. So kind of making sure I get all my ducks lined up in a row for that and stuff like that. So
wait, the 24th of May in 4 days?
No. Oh no. I'll be in real trouble. No. August 24th.
Oh, okay. All right.
Coming August 24th. Yeah. So August 24th, I'm actually getting married. So. I had to make sure I didn't have any bruises on my face and anything like that. So, you know how it goes with training and just anything like that. So making sure, and obviously there's a big learning curve for me too as well. So I'm still trying to, there's a lot I gotta catch up on. I'm doing the quick study course for everything. So, but I'm training with some awesome people, with Mark Munoz with my wrestling, and he's an amazing teacher. Training with this guy, Kit Dow. I'm not sure if you heard of Kit. Kit is an amazing jiu-jitsu expert, and he's working with me a whole lot as well, and as one of my classic guys. So yeah, I'm looking to get back in again before the year ends for sure, maybe around November time, and then go from there.
All right. Well, good luck topping that knockout from a couple of weeks ago. That was incredible. That is.
Oh yeah.
That is stuff that is going to be replayed for decades to come. Absolutely amazing, and I'm very happy for you, Raymond. It took 11 years, but you're back, and what a way to return. And not to say that you haven't been doing great things in the world of kickboxing, but I'm just talking about mixed martial arts. It was really cool to see you pull that off a couple weeks ago in Birmingham. Congratulations, my best to the family. Congratulations also on Mazel Tov on the wedding coming up in August, and hopefully, as you said, Sage will be back home soon, feeling good, and I wish the best to him as well. Thanks for doing this.
All right. Thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. There he is. Raymond Daniels, the GOAT himself. Great to have him on the show. And if you have not seen that knockout, if you're one of the few people on earth who have not seen that knockout, do yourself a favor and go check it out. It was absolutely amazing. 720 knockout. Unbelievable. All right. Oh, wow. Look at that. Helwani Show on the road, baby. It's the Helwani Road Show. First ever live edition. Yeah, there's the info right over there. Eventbrite.com right now. Ariel Helwani. Type in that name, Ariel Helwani, eventbrite.com. Anyhow, let me tell you about my good friends over at NetSuite. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. But the problem growing businesses have these days is that it keeps them from knowing their numbers. It's this hodgepodge of business systems. They have one system for accounting, another for sales, another for inventory, and so on and so forth. It's just a big inefficient mess, taking up too much time and too many resources, and that hurts the bottom line. So let me tell you about NetSuite by Oracle, the business management software that handles every aspect of your business in an easy-to-use cloud platform, giving you the visibility and control you need to grow. With NetSuite, you save time, money, and unneeded headaches by managing sales, finance, and accounting, orders, and HR instantly, right from the desktop or the phone. That's why NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system. Right now, NetSuite is offering you valuable insights with a free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/MMA. That's netsuite.com/MMA to download your free guide, 7 key strategy to grow your profits. netsuite.com/MMA. That's where you go to support them because they support us. All right. In a matter of moments, we're actually going to be joined by Tyron Woodley. So we're doing a bit of a switcheroo here. We're going to be joined by Tyron Woodley first. And then I do believe after that, we're going to be joined by Michel Pereira, who had that phenomenal debut this past weekend in Rochester. We'll also be joined by Rafael dos Anjos, who, of course, won the big fight in the main event against Kevin Lee. And Jessica Andrade still to come, the strawweight champion, Felicia Spencer as well. But this past Friday, we got the word that Tyron Woodley will not be returning to action on June 29th against Robbie Lawler, unfortunately suffering from a hand injury, and so wanted to get the latest on him. Earlier, we heard from Leon Edwards, who said that he would like to fight Robbie Lawler, but the last I heard is that Robbie Lawler, as Leon alluded to, is kind of being strategic here and really wanted the Ben Askren fight, and if not, he wanted the Woodley fight, and right now he's not getting that, so he might actually sit and wait. For now, though, let us say hello to Tyron Woodley, who's kind enough to be joining us. There he is. Tyron Woodley, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Ariel?
I'm doing well. Thank you for doing this, Tyron. I really appreciate it. So tell us what happened.
You know, a lot of people don't recognize that when I had a CMC joint repair. So when I fought against Darren Till, in the first round, I threw a punch and I hit him with actually my thumb. The way he blocked, he stepped in, I hit the hard part of his skull, and that point, it hit like the joint of my thumb right here, and it basically popped the bone up. It didn't break it, but it tore all the ligaments that attached it. So my hand was basically at a state of dislocation, and it was just extreme pain. I actually considered fighting Kobe Covington in New York very few weeks afterwards, and I just had to be real with myself. I wasn't able to grab, I wasn't able to pinch, I wasn't able to snap. So I began to rehab this hand, and then the Kamaru Usman fight came up. And one thing about me, and especially in this sport, there's been so many fights. I can't remember the last fight I didn't go into the fight with an injury. But once I signed on the dotted line, I commit to it. And win, lose, or draw, you know, you never hear about it. Like, I had a torn hamstring and growing when I fought Robbie the first time. My shoulder wasn't quite recovered from the Damian Maia fight when I fought against Darren Till. But these are things that I've masked and I've hid. And if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. When I sign the dotted line, I commit to it. I got to the point in this camp where I started out training, and like I did with the Usman fight, I just kind of put it in the back burner. And I overly rely on adrenaline. There's been times where I've been within a fight. I threw a crazy kick against Kelvin Gastelum, broke my foot in the first strike of the fight. And adrenaline carried me throughout the way. I punched Darren Till, shattered my fucking hand, tore all kind of ligaments. And then I just went to go on the elbow instead of punching. And I knew that it would be better to win the fight than to lose the fight with that injury, because now it's going to be almost double jeopardy. So you can only do that so long in your career. And in my career, been fighting since 2005, this is the first time I've been committed to a fight, and I had to be real with myself. I was punching, throwing combinations, and Duke was holding the pad, and I was hitting it, and it was feeling kind of weird. And, you know how they do the countdown and stuff, they film it and stuff like that. So I'm trying to, give the fans what y'all want to see, but I can't really throw my hand like I want to throw it. I get into a light training session, like MMA sparring, and I go to throw overhand right, my thumb hits that area, and I defend a takedown, and I have to post and I have to plant my hand. And I felt the shift, and I felt it inflamed, and it got to the point where I was like, am I really going to be able to do this fight in June? Am I really going to be able to avoid properly rehabbing my hand once again and maybe further damaging it? And I just started thinking about me trying to zip up, trying to snap, trying to pick my dart up. And I said, I got to be real, And I try to do my best to tough it out and also try to give the UFC's brass enough notice where if this is a situation where they need to refill the slot or get a different bout or get Robbie another opponent, that they would have enough time to do that. So I was trying to do a solid in that situation because, I know it's probably a pain in the ass for them to have to replace a main event, especially a fight, a rematch of two former champions. To try to put somebody in that slot would be hard. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Do you need surgery?
I pray I do not. I'm tired of fucking surgery. I just had surgery on my foot, had surgery on my shoulder, had surgery on my hand. In moments, I'm going to the physical therapy center here in LA. The UFC was kind enough to set me up with the very best hand specialist they have. So I'm going to do physical therapy first, and then I'm going to go to the hand specialist. He's going to look at my MRI. He's going to evaluate my hand, and he's going to see what the next step is. I pray that I don't have to have anything done to it. That's definitely not what I need back. I'm on the road back to the throne, man. I'm ready to get my belt back, ready to go back out there and take what's mine, and I don't need another surgical setback.
So I'll be honest with you. I feel like there's a silver lining in all of this, and you tell me if you feel otherwise. I didn't like this fight for you because I feel like it would have been very hard for you to top the way you beat Robbie Lawler at UFC 201. That was a spectacular finish. And, even if you win via third round KO as opposed to first round KO, if you win via decision, they say, oh, it wasn't as good as the first time. And also, it felt like maybe you needed some time off after what happened against Kamaru Usman. And so maybe this could be a blessing in disguise. Am I crazy here?
You're not crazy. I think everything adds up. Like sometimes I've been in situations where I want to go. And God has a funny way of sitting us down. If I leave it up to myself, I'd have been in the octagon June 29th. And there's been times where I've had injuries. When I had my foot surgery, I was forced to sit down. I was forced to take some time away from traveling. I ended up having a blood clot in my calf when I was scheduled to fight. I was scheduled to fight Johnny Hendricks. I had a blood clot in my calf. And I couldn't travel. I couldn't be in altitude the way that I wanted to. And I had to put down some work and some gigs. And I think sometimes God has a way of getting you to listen and maybe take that time to evaluate yourself, evaluate your training, evaluate your circle, your approach on the sport. And those are the moments where I've sat down and I really made some exponential growth as a person, as a man, as a father, and also as a fighter. So, of course, I want to be in there. You're only as good as your last performance. It's my job to go back out there and negate my last performance with a phenomenal one. So I don't understand why certain things happen, but I'm starting to learn as I get a little bit older to quit questioning things. I agree with you. This fight wasn't as much for me as it was for Robbie. I don't need to prove anything. This is a guy that I took his belt from. I took his ability to earn pay-per-view. I took his ability to have a larger platform and fight. He wants his fight back. You know what I mean? And for me, it was just me making a strong statement to the UFC and to everybody else that, okay, this is who you guys want me to fight? Okay, I'll fight him. You guys want me to fight this guy? All right, fight him. That's what the fans want to see. The fans want to see somebody to fight anywhere, anytime. The UFC loves the same thing. So this was my gesture. Though on paper it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to fight Robbie, if this is a fight you guys want me to do, let me go out there and do it, and let me do it better. And my motivation was to not allow him to have a chance to get back, not allow him to have a chance to retaliate, and also just go out there and defy the odds once more and win a fight that really maybe didn't make a lot of sense for my career to take.
I spoke to you a month or so after the Usman fight. Now we're 2.5 months later. What is life like after that fight without the belt? How are you handling it?
I burned. It definitely burned. I was going through a point where I just got to be honest with yourself. Like, the belt wasn't everything to me. It wasn't. I stand by that. I do so many other things outside of fighter. You know, it's a slogan that LeBron uses, more than athlete. And I'm truly the definition of being more than an athlete. I don't know any other UFC fighter that has diversified himself to the level that I've diversified myself as an entertainer, as a fighter, as an analyst, as a host, as a father, as an entrepreneur. I have my hands in so many different formats of entertainment that I've really shown that nobody can ever take that away and they can never question that. But when you lose a belt, the platform that existed from being a champion, also the opportunities that existed as being a champion, not that those things are going away, but it's quite a bit different. And I've seen Usman so many damn times since the fight. If he's a guest fighter, if, you know, I've seen him in Brazil, seen him in Atlanta. And I told him the other day, I was like, man, if I see your ass one more time, dog, I'm tired of seeing you. I'm tired of seeing you coming out the cut with this damn belt. You just so happen to have the belt in Starbucks. You just so happen to have the belt in the bathroom. And from nowhere, like Mr. What's that movie with Adam Sandler was Mr. Deeds? Very sneaky. That motherfucker popped that belt out from anywhere. And he should be happy. And, you know, I want to allow him to have his moment because he earned that. He beat me. He was focused. He executed the game plan against, you know, which I'm going to argue that I'm the best welterweight of all time. But now it's my chance to come back. It's my chance to show the fans and the people how great I am. That's what George St. Pierre did when he avenged his loss against Matt Serra and Matt Hughes. He wouldn't have not been the greatest of all time had he not done that. Had he crawled up under a rock and cried over spilled milk after losing a fight, he would have not had the legacy. So now it's my chance to go back out there and capture what's mine.
So when you see him, do you actually talk to him, or is it a little weird?
No, I'm making my business to talk to him. Even if he doesn't see me, I can't disrespect him. What I got against him? You know, he's a competitor. He's trying to change his life. He's got a daughter. He want to, you know, show her that all things are possible. And, you know, the Nigerian culture is, you know, all of a sudden, you know, we see this huge wave for the Nigerian fighters. Partly is because many people may not have thought he was going to beat me. They didn't have a marketing plan for him afterward. And the easiest and the strongest push that you can have for him, especially with Israel Adesanya, to really push the Nigerian market. When have we ever had a push for the African market? We've never had that before. So, like I said before, this is his moment to be the champion. He won a belt fair and square. I'll never take that away from any fighter. It takes too long to get to that point. It's a lot of focus, a lot of interviews, a lot of stuff to go into just the fight beyond just actually competing and going out there and fighting. And I wouldn't allow him to have that moment. But don't get too comfortable, bro. I'm coming for my belt. I'm coming for my throne. And I will show the world that I'm the greatest welterweight of all time.
How many times have you watched that fight?
I won't watch it. There's no point in me watching it because it wasn't really me fighting. It was like an out-of-body experience. So for me to go back down and watch the fight and find out what I did right and what I did wrong, it's going to be me evaluating. It's like him fighting RDA and me watching the film and him fighting RDA. That does nothing for me. So the small clips that I see on social media, I'm like, I let him take me down with that. Like, he was punching at me like that and I did knock him out. Like, if I would have been fighting me, Ariel, the way that I saw myself looking and feeling in the first round, if my opponent was myself and I was the one that was against the cage looking like I was having a bad dream, I would have knocked myself the hell out on everything. There's no way I would have allowed myself out of that fight. And if it was Robbie Lawler, he wouldn't have allowed me out of that fight. There's just certain guys that they smell blood. And if you see somebody on life support, they're willing to pull a plug. And that's what I would have done to myself. So I'm blessed to a certain degree that I didn't really get hurt that bad in that fight. My ego got hurt. My pride got hurt. I lost something that was very valuable to me and my family and something I worked very hard for. And I did it against all the odds. I did it against a lot of adversity. I did it against a lot of politics. I did it against the best guys in the world. I wasn't fighting the super fights. I was fighting the specialists, number one contenders, people that the rest of the division had a terrible time trying to figure out the puzzle. And it meant something to me. So looking back, those clips, me and my coaching staff, Duke, Dean, Eric, we've all decided that it don't make sense to look at it. Let's just shake it off. Let's just get yourself together. Let's clear your head out, my man. Let's get back on the ball. Let's make training fun again. And let's go out there and get what's ours. You know, we ain't finna go out like that. You think I'm going to just go out and just let that shit happen and not go for my belt again? No, I ain't built like that. I come from nothing. So, you know, Obviously, you don't ever want to go back and experience that, but I've been through way worse than losing a belt. I've been chased. I've been shot at. I've been freaking in gang fights. I've been, ran from 15 people chasing me. Fighting ain't that scary to me. It's really not.
You mentioned all the stuff that you've been through, and it somewhat reminded me of what we heard from Rose last week, and she said that she was actually relieved after losing the fight to Andrade and losing her belt subsequently. Is there any part of you that shares those sentiments, sympathizes with what she was saying in terms of like, now you don't have to deal with all those politics? Now, I know you want to get right back in there, but is there a part of you that is just somewhat relieved that you don't have to go through that, at least right now?
I had a long talk with Pat. I had a long talk with Rose. And we just started talking about mental health. And we started talking about the pressure. And I have committed mentally, and I haven't started this yet, but I've committed mentally to start a support group for the UFC, a support group for fighters, because we are taught so many times, more times than not, to go against each other, to talk shit against each other, to have bad blood against each other. But we are our strongest network if you really think about it. If I got a project coming out, movie, music, the whole UFC roster should push that. If they got something coming out, a movie, a book, artwork, something outside the UFC, we should be able to tap into that network. And that shouldn't stop with just other projects. That should go into and having a conversation, because as I talk to Pat and I talk to Rose, I can really attest to a lot of stuff that she went through. I can attest to a lot of stuff from a mental standpoint, how this becomes pressure. I'm different than her. I'm built different. She just want to fight and have fun. I'm built for this shit. I'm built for the politics. I've endured it. I've endured it this whole time. If I wasn't built for it, I would have never been able to sustain my championship status. I was devastated. I was the opposite. I became used to the pressure. I became used to the haters. I became used to all the things that went with the champion. Quiet as kept, I was the best champion the UFC had when it came down to needing somebody that would be marketable, somebody that would represent the UFC with integrity, somebody that would come out there and fight the number one contender time and time again, the person that would always show up and be professional, always show up and make weight, always show up and answer the questions, win, lose, or draw. When have you ever seen me shy away from an interview? I did interviews after I got knocked out by Marquez, interviews after I lost to Jake Shields, interviews after I lost to Kamaru Usman. I never shied away from the positive feedback or the negative feedback, the negative comments in my inboxes or the positive. I really formed a way to become indifferent, because our fans are like the leaves that blow in a tree. One time they're on this side of the fence, another time they blow over to the other side. So I recognize that, and I don't really take it to heart. So I'm devastated. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, that means something to me, and it's an empty void there. And many people hit me up, and it's like, it don't feel right that he's the champion. I mean, you look like the champion. You act like the champion. You encompass everything that is a champion. And I'm not knocking him saying that he doesn't. But as far as someone that's suited for that throne and that seat, I feel like that seat's mine. I got cozy in there. I had to break in the leather in that seat, and it took a long time to do that. And, enjoy it, keep it warm, but I'm coming back for it.
Is there any part of you that feels like maybe you put too much on your plate in hindsight? You've got so much going on with the movies and the music. You just got a lot. You mentioned all the stuff. You're a father. Like, do you feel like maybe you need to clear some stuff in order to get back on that path to get the belt?
I don't think it was too much on my plate. The thing about it is, I've always had so much on my plate, and the fans are just now getting to see that because I've given you access. I've shown you Champ Camp and Champ Life, and I've shown you me doing Jeopardy, Wilding Out, Hawaii 5-0, dropping the album, doing a release party. But I've been doing that stuff behind the scenes forever. The record that I did, I mean, I let you hear some of the stuff before it came out, way back when. This album has been recorded for almost a year. I just try to use a proper platform that after a big victory to try to utilize that to really generate the wave and ride the wave out. So it's really a marketing strategy. There's things that maybe I could have shelved to a different time. Maybe a few songs that weren't on this current album, maybe I could have waited on them. Maybe some of distractive or some crazy arguments or whatever thing that took my mind space away, I got to micromanage. But I am best when I'm in chaos. And I had to come to grips with that. I heard John Jones say a while, he didn't train in between camps. I'm like, damn, I thought I was the only one. It was kind of my hidden secret. And if you notice, John, not to compare myself to John, because in my opinion, he may be the best MMA athlete we've ever seen. But John has had so much chaos in his life. outside the octagon, but he's always managed to hone in inside the octagon. And I found that don't run from it. Don't hide from it. God built you a certain way. And I say this time and time again, the Renaissance man was a man that did a lot of things good, but did no things great. That was his ass. That ain't me. I won't sit on gifts. I won't sit on gifts that God gave me, because if you sit on it, you bury them, they get taken away. Somebody else do it. So I'm going to exalt God whatever way I can, whether it's through fighting, whether it's through music, whether it's through entrepreneurship. I'm probably going to be the best in public speaking. I'm telling these stories and how I made it through, and how I, came from Ferguson, and through all the odds, I found a way to be successful. I'm going to be a better public speaker. I'm going to inspire more people, and I'm going to motivate more people that are like-minded or came from a similar background or maybe had the same complexion. I'm going to be able to get through to them better than somebody that hasn't. And that's what my end goal is. So I need my platform back. I need my throne back. I need for people to see me fall down. It's like I crawled up like Spider-Man in Empire State Building area. And I'm all the way to the top. It took so long, so many years. So many people thought I was crazy for even attempting doing it. I got all the way up there, right? And I lose my powers at the top. I feel like in that fight I had a battery pack snatched out of my back, and I just downloaded it. And then the fall from the top is so public, it's so embarrassing, and everybody sees it. It takes so long, and then when you hit that rock bottom, you look up, and it began to become intimidating. Damn, I worked so hard to get up there, and it makes you feel like it's going to be so hard to get back to the top. But that's the trick of the enemy. I got there once, I got there twice. And now it's going to be a third time. We're going to make that run. I'm going to get my belt back, and I'm going to end this goal.
You're the man, Tyron. I appreciate you doing this. Get well soon. I hope your hand, improves, and you could take some time to get back to 100%, and then you could get those big fights to get you back on track to getting that title. I really appreciate you doing this on short notice, Tyron. Thank you so much.
No worries.
All right, there he is, Tyron Woodley stopping by. Great to hear from him, and certainly wish him well. Unfortunately, that fight isn't happening on June 29th, but as I said, it could certainly be a silver lining for the former and potential future UFC welterweight champion as well. All right, let's move along now and say hello to our next guest. He stole the show on Saturday in Rochester. People still buzzing after what Michel Pereira did in his UFC debut against Danny Roberts. If you've been watching him outside of the UFC up until this point, you aren't surprised by some of the moves he showed off before the fight, during the fight, after the fight. He is a human highlight reel. It's unbelievable what this man can do, and he is kind enough to be joining us right now via the magic of Skype. Michel, how are you?
Como você tá, Michel?
Estou bem, muito bem.
He's really, really good.
Okay, and thank you very much for the translation help as well. So, Michel, parabéns on the victory on Saturday in your UFC debut. People, like I said, still talking about it. I'm wondering if we can start with the walkout. You were very emotional walking out. You were openly crying. Why were you so emotional as you were about to enter the cage?
Não, Michel, parabéns pela sua luta. Todo mundo percebeu que estava muito emotivo na sua luta. Por que você ficou tão emotivo na luta?
Primeiramente, boa tarde a todos. É uma honra estar aqui nessa entrevista. E eu estava muito emocionado porque era o meu maior sonho, era andar naquele corredor do UFC. Então, desde criança eu tinha esse sonho que era caminhar pelo corredor, então eu estava muito emocionado.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I was really emotional because it was always my dream to get to the path to the UFC, and now I'm here. So thank you.
Is that the first time in your career that you've been that emotional before a fight? And if so, I'm wondering, because the announcers were talking about how it might affect you, how you might not fight at your best because you were so emotional. I'm wondering if you were worried about that as well.
Você ficou preocupado que como você ficou emotivo? Foi por isso que, tipo, sua luta, ela foi do jeito que você queria que fosse, ou você achou que você lutou pior por causa da emoção?
A emoção que eu tive não me atrapalhou em nada, porque eu estava muito bem preparado, estava muito bem treinado. Eu sonhei por esse momento, sonhei em estar no UFC para dar aquele grande show. Então, tudo que eu fiz, eu tinha treinado, eu já tinha sonhado com aquilo, eu tinha já visualizado na cabeça. Então, aconteceu o que eu já tinha esperado.
His emotion did not bother him in the fight. since he was really prepared for it, he really worked for it. He is the kind of person who is working all the time for what he wants. So in this fight, he really did what he wanted, and he's really glad of what he did.
Did that go better than you expected, or were you expecting to show off the arsenal, the moves that you did? In other words, is it possible that your debut exceeded your own expectations?
Você acha que você fez melhor do que você ever fez? Se você já fez algum dia, ou você acha que fez normal?
Não, eu já fiz lutas muito melhor. Eu não consegui mostrar o meu jogo porque a luta foi muito rápida, não tive tempo de mostrar o meu jogo, o que eu queria fazer. Então não foi nem a metade. Aí você fala e eu continuo.
Okay. His fight, on this fight, it wasn't the best one he ever did because he didn't have enough time to show all his moves for his fans and everyone. So he wants to continue, so give me 1 second.
Quem olhar no YouTube, nas redes sociais minhas, no meu Instagram ou na minha página, vai ver que eu tenho muita coisa ainda para mostrar para o público do UFC.
If you go to his Instagram, Facebook, and all his social medias, you can see that his fights, it can be way better than this. He can show way more capacity on his fight. He can show way more talent than what he did on this fight because he didn't have time, and he's going to continue. So give me 1 second.
O que eu fiz no UFC foi muita pouca coisa. Tive muito tempo. Eu ainda estava me soltando no jogo. Eu ainda estava vendo o que ele queria fazer comigo, como ele iria lutar comigo.
On this fight, on the UFC, he still didn't have enough time to show everything he wanted, so he's waiting for the next one.
Eu tenho muito ainda para mostrar pro UFC. Então, me aguardem que logo, na minha próxima luta, espero mostrar todo o meu show.
So on his next fight, he really wants to show his whole show, show what he's capable of, and all his moves.
Is it true, Michel, that you were going to actually flip on Danny Roberts, but the referee stopped you when you knocked him down to the ground at the end? Was that your plan? Is that true? Because I think you might have been disqualified if you did that, so I'm happy that he stopped you. Is that true? It sounds like it is.
É verdade que você queria fazer um flip do lado dele e o juiz te parou?
Eu tava, naquele momento, eu olhei e ia tirar o salto, e só que o árbitro foi muito rápido e me tirou, mas 2 segundinhos que ele tinha me dado ali, eu já ia estar voando. Vê que na filmagem eu já estava assim, já que eu já estava voando já para tirar o salto, mas o juiz foi muito rápido.
On this fight, the jury was really, really fast. So if he had 2 more seconds, he was already going next to him and going on next to him.
Who taught you this style? Like, where did you come up with these moves? Was it just all you, or did someone actually teach you this?
Quem te ensinou todos esses moves, esses movimentos que você tem, essas piruetas loucas que você faz? Ou é sua mesmo, você é invenção?
São criações minhas. Eu, graças a Deus, creio que Deus me deu um dom, um talento. Aí que traduz.
Foi uma coisa dele, ele acha que foi um talento que... Oh, sorry. That was a thing of him. And then he thinks God gave it to him, this talent, and all these moves that he does, it's his own moves.
E creio que na próxima vez eu vou conseguir tirar uns mortal para todo o pessoal, o público do UFC.
He hopes in the next fight he's gonna give good black flips and stuff. So.
Okay.
Well, me aguarde, eu ainda serei o showman do UFC ainda.
So wait for him, he's gonna be the showman in the UFC.
All right.
E vou atrás dos melhores.
And he's gonna go for the best ones.
My understanding is that you were actually kicked out of your house as a 10-year-old and you had to sleep on floors in karate dojos and really be on your own. Is that true? And if so, why were you kicked out of your house at such a young age?
É verdade que você foi, com 10 anos de idade, expulso da sua casa e você dormiu em tapete, você dormiu não numa casa boa?
Não é que eu fui expulso, né? Aos 12 anos de idade eu tive que tomar uma decisão na minha vida, que minha mãe foi embora da cidade Tucumã, que é a cidade que eu amo, é a cidade que eu moro.
It wasn't on 10 years old, it was when he was 12, and he wasn't kicked out of his house. he had a chance to move from Tucumã to Manaus with his mother, but he didn't. He chose to stay in Tucumã, no Pará, with his aunt and uncle.
Então eu tive que tomar essa decisão, ou ir com minha mãe embora para Manaus e largar a minha vida de karateca, ou eu tinha essa decisão de ficar em Tucumã e treinar o karatê e seguir essa minha vida de atleta.
So he chose to stay in Tucumã with his family, not his mom, and he wanted to learn well how to fight and have an athletic life. So that's why he chose to stay and not go to Manaus with his mom.
Então, graças a Deus, consegui tomar a decisão correta, que foi ficar em Tucumã e treinar o karatê. E hoje estamos aí, representando Tucumã e todo o sul do Pará.
So thanks God, he made the right decision, he said. And with all the decision, he would have made the same decision. He wouldn't have changed anything because he's representing Tucumã from Pará.
And your first, I think it was either a karate fight or amateur fight. Is it true that it just lasted 7 seconds? Your coach put you in there without any experience whatsoever, and that's kind of how this whole thing started for you. He after a few weeks of training put you in there, and you win a fight in 7 seconds via flying knee. Is that true?
Verdade que você conseguiu ganhar uma luta por 7 segundos na sua primeira luta de karatê?
A minha primeira luta foi 7 segundos. Eu nocauteei com a joelhada. Eu não tinha jiu-jitsu ainda, só tinha karatê. E aquela luta eu lutei com 17 anos. Eu tinha 17 anos quando eu fiz essa luta.
On this fight, he was 17 years old. And yes, it's true that he knocked the guy out with 7 seconds.
Wow.
It was with his knees. He just grabbed his knees and to his face, so...
What do you say to people who say that, you're being too much of a show-off, that you don't need to do all these flips and things like that, you're being disrespectful to your opponent? What's your response to that?
Qual é a sua resposta quando o pessoal fala que você está sendo desrespeitoso, fazendo todas essas cambalhotas, essas coisas no meio do seu jogo? Você está querendo se mostrar ou é uma coisa...
É uma coisa que eu fui muito criticado no começo. Muitas pessoas falaram mal, falaram que era coisa de palhaço, que era coisa de circo, e não era uma coisa legal de se fazer.
All his life, everyone around him said it was something that you don't do in a fight, something that a clown would do, and something that you don't do that, but he was always like, that's my way of fighting, and I want to keep doing that.
Eu quero que as pessoas entendam que eu não estou fazendo graça com ninguém, que eu não estou desrespeitando ninguém. É apenas um estilo que eu criei para mim, que eu venho lutando por esse estilo.
He really wants the people to understand that he's not making fun of anyone. He's not pretending he's the best in the fight. It's just the way he likes to fight, the way he knows how to fight. And this way is how he wins.
O que eu procuro fazer nas minhas lutas é dar um grande show para o público. Não é ir lá e só ganhar, que nem muitos atletas hoje em dia estão fazendo. O que eu procuro fazer é dar um espetáculo para todo mundo que está presenciando, que está assistindo a luta, que paga seu ingresso, que paga um canal de televisão para assistir as lutas. Então, eu só gosto de dar show para as pessoas.
So what his goal in every fight is to give a show to everyone. So he likes to win, of course, but his main goal is to give a show to everyone that bought a ticket around to go see him and enjoy his fight. So what he's doing is basically giving a show to the people that is watching him.
Então, a luta minha, vocês nunca vão presenciar uma luta chata. Eu posso perder, ser nocauteado rápido ou ser finalizado, mas nunca uma luta chata.
He promised everyone that is watching this right now that you never see a boring fight that he's going to give. He's always going to try to give his best and always going to try to do something different and something more, I don't know, creative in the middle of his fight.
Do you have any experience doing like breakdancing or things like that? Because I feel like you'd be an unbelievable dancer. Have you done this in the past?
Você já teve alguma experiência dançando? Ou porque ele acha que você seria um bom dançarino?
Eu, além de ser lutador, ser atleta, eu dou aula de dança, né? Dou aula de como eu fui criado dentro de uma academia desde criança. Então, eu sei dar aulas de zumba, aeróbica, body combat, bachata. Então, a dança faz parte de mim. Eu gosto muito de dançar.
Yes, he does know how to dance really well. And he knows how to give class of Zumba. He knows how to give class of aerobic kind of dances and bachata, right?
Yes.
So he knows how to dance.
It definitely seems like everything changed after your fight in Road FC back in December, because that was a crazy fight. I mean, it just lasted 41 seconds, but that clip was shared everywhere. Why do you? And you know, you're what? You're 23-9 or 22-9. So I mean, you've been fighting for quite some time. Why do you think that fight was the one that got you out there and I think got you on the UFC's radar?
Por que você acha que aquela luta que você está falando, que quando você deu o flip e ganhou super rápido, por que você acha que essa luta foi a luta que te deu mais tchan para começar uma carreira?
Eu já fiz em outras lutas, eu já fiz movimentos que nem aqueles, mas não estourou na mídia como estourou essa agora. Eu acho que estourou assim porque estava tendo um GP muito importante no Road FC, que era um GP que valia $1 milhão, e o centro das atenções era 2 atletas muito importantes que iriam lutar, e eu tirei essa atenção dessa luta. Então eu acho que foi por causa disso que estourou.
He's been always doing these moves and for every single fight that he does, but he thinks because of GP. What is GP?
GP tournament?
Tournament?
Tournament.
He was saying because it's a $1 million tournament that everyone was watching, so that's probably why it actually went viral.
Okay. And I heard that he weighed around 198 pounds. You looked way bigger than Danny Roberts. Is that true? You weighed 28 pounds more than you weighed in at? You're actually fighting at 198 in a welterweight fight. Is that accurate?
Então você pesa quase o dobro do seu peso que você pesava naquela luta agora?
Sim. Yes.
E quanto você tá pesando agora?
Para essa luta que eu lutei com o Danny Robert, eu tirei 17 quilos, né?
Mm-hmm. So he took 17 kilos on this fight. If you can change 2 pounds.
Well, he looked massive.
Right now in my head.
Yeah, and you can make 170 no problem. It's unbelievable. I mean, you look like a weight class above him. Last thing for you, who do you want next?
Quem você quer lutar próximo?
Eu já era para estar no UFC há muito tempo e sempre gostei de lutar com os melhores, e as pessoas que eu penso em lutar, que eu tenho vontade de lutar, são o Conor McGregor, a Desânia, e os campeões da minha categoria, porque eu gosto de lutar com os melhores.
He always wanted to be in the UFC, but right now who he really wants to fight is, can you say the name again?
Conor McGregor.
This one?
Conor McGregor. Yes.
Nate Diaz.
The best
Pérez. Os melhores da categoria.
All the champions of his category.
Okay. Wait a second, Jackie. Have you never heard of Conor McGregor? Is that what you're telling us right here?
That's what I'm telling you right here.
That is unbelievable. Well, you did a great job translating, by the way. Well done to you.
Thank you.
And well done to you, Michel. This is amazing. They call you Demolidor. And I believe that's Daredevil, right? Daredevil in English? You certainly are.
Demolidor is Daredevil.
Yeah, you certainly are a Daredevil, my friend. It's been a lot of fun watching you. And what a debut. We haven't seen a debut like that in quite some time. So parabéns, congratulations on the victory. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Thank you very much.
All right, there he is. Michel Pereira, Demolidor. How about Jackie, the translator? Never heard of Conor McGregor. That's unbelievable. I thought everyone knew who Conor McGregor was. Amazing. All right, well, that's a good transition for our next guest because he fought in the main event of that card in Rochester, which featured the likes of Michel Pereira, Felicia Spencer, who we're going to talk to in a bit as well. But RDA, Rafael dos Anjos, stole the show on Saturday, defeating Kevin Lee in the main event via submission. Great performance, great bounce-back win for the former UFC lightweight champion. He's kind enough to be joining us right now. Rafael, where is Rafael? I don't know. Is he on the phone? Oh, there he is. Rafael, how are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me, Ariel.
A pleasure as always. Congratulations on the win. By the way, did you have a chance? I know you were getting ready for the fight, but did you have a chance to watch Michel's fight? You see him all doing the flips and all that stuff?
No, I heard a lot of him. I heard he he did great stuff on the fight, but I didn't have a chance to watch his fight.
Okay, yeah, and I understand you were getting ready for your own. So great performance. You get back on track. I heard that you said afterwards that it felt like a weight was lifted off your shoulders because of the losing streak. Try to reassert yourself at 170. On this Monday, how do you feel now that you're back in the win column?
Yeah, man, I feel great to walk home, after 18 months without having my hands raised inside the octagon. My last win was against Robbie Lawler in December 2017, and I fought Colby and Usman, 2 losses back to back. But thank you God, I got back. I'm back on the winning path.
How much were the losses weighing on you? Like, did you feel like this was a must-win situation for you, Rafael?
Yeah, especially I was trying to not put so much pressure on my shoulders, but I was on that situation for 2 times in my life. I lost 2 in a row on UFC debut, and then before I move up division, I lost 2 fights in a row too after I lose my belt. And I was able to, turn things around and get some winning streak. And I feel that I'm on in this situation right now. And Kevin, moving up division, he was big, he was strong, fast, but and I felt like was kind of a bit of risky because he didn't have not to lose on that fight. He just came like 2 fight, and I think, but I was able to put my strategy and use my experience on my favor.
I thought he started really well. I thought he looked really good in the first round. Were you surprised at all by the way he fought in that first round? Did he catch you off guard at all?
No, he didn't rock me on any time, and I knew he would come strong. I knew that, but that was all part of the plan. Keep wearing him down. Even he was putting me against the fence. I was being making him work, being heavy on him, making him work hard and trying to, I knew as the fight goes forward, will be a lot of more advantage for me. And that's how the thing play out.
Okay. And then obviously as the fight went on, you began to pick up steam, but he also began to lose some steam. He started to run out of gas. Could you feel that? And if so, how soon in the fight did you feel that? Like, did you start to feel that in the second round that he wasn't as quick, wasn't as strong?
Yeah. I was feeling that he was, gassing out a little bit. But I think once I start like putting my takedowns too and shutting off his takedowns and taking him down, that play a big part, big mental game on that fight. And I was able to, be on top too and take him down. I think that changed the fight.
Do you feel like this narrative that he ran out of gas is almost like taking something away from you, that it's not giving you enough credit?
Sorry, can you say it again, Ariel, please?
Like a lot of the talk after this fight is that, oh, Kevin looked good, but then he ran out of gas. Do you feel like it should be, no, Rafael, maybe weathered the early storm, but then he actually executed the game plan and was the reason why he ran out of gas? Like, do you feel like you're not getting enough credit after this kind of win?
Yeah, man. People, a lot of negativity out there. People always gonna say, and he held up good until the 4th, but that was part of my strategy, and I think it's about who wanted more, and I want that fight more, and I don't give, I was with a good cardio, in a good day, good spirit. And I don't listen this negativities,
If the fight didn't go your way, you were going to keep fighting, right? Like your career wasn't on the line here, correct?
No, not at all, man. That would be, I got that question before and that fight, but I say, that thing not even crossed my mind, lose that fight. That wasn't an option for me. I wasn't playing with that option. I knew I had to win. I was in that fight so much, but of course not. My career, I'm 34 years old, 40 fights, 40 professional fights, but I still got a lot on me, and I'm on this game for a while.
Would you like your next fight to not be against a wrestler? Would you like to see a different kind of opponent next?
I don't care. I show like that's why I took the fight with Kevin. A lot of people say, yeah, another wrestler gonna be the same thing, but I took him down. I took Kobe down twice, if I'm not wrong, and I was able to stop his takedown. He just put me against the fence, and I think sometimes that game for the judge's eyes. It looked like a bit bad, but that was part of my strategy too, making him carry me there. And I know I have my submissions attempts, but I don't care, whoever UFC think. I was, I thought maybe, but Paris, but UFC already put Paris and Nate Diaz in Anaheim, but that's a lot of options out there. We'll see.
Well, speaking of options, earlier in the show, Leon Edwards, who's won 7 in a row, said that he would like to fight you in Abu Dhabi. Do you have any interest in this fight?
Nah, man. We'll see what UFC. I have interest on that to be on that card. That would be good. I fought in Abu Dhabi, if I'm not, I think in 2012, 2010. I think I fought in Abu Dhabi. Was good energy, and that could be, but I think I have other people on my radar. Even Conor, he's still talking about my broken foot as I bruised my foot. And that show what kind of person he is. Talking about like that, a fellow fighter get hurt before the fight and still making fun of it. That could happen with anybody on this game. But, I have other people on my radar.
Yeah, minutes after your victory on Saturday, Conor was tweeting about you. I think he was responding to another journalist, Josh Gross, tweeting about, what might have been had that fight materialized between you and him back at UFC 196. And he said, you had I think he said a bruised toe, and then someone tried to correct him, and he was just kind of talking about it, which is what you just alluded to. Do you feel like that's his way of trying to maybe poke you to try to get this fight? Do you think he's interested in this fight, or is it just his way of stirring the pot? How do you take that?
Yeah, I think we were scheduled to fight twice. One, I broke my foot. The other one, he got involved on the bus altercation in New York. But according to him, he was scheduled to fight for the interim belt, welterweight belt in Rio. So we'll see, man. I think that's a fight that everybody wants to see, and I think that if I did not broke my foot, that would be a total different career for Conor McGregor. His career would play out totally different. And he got lucky. He fought Diaz and he got finished by Diaz, but he was able to come back and win another fight. But I think if that fight happened, that would change his career. But of course, we'll see. Looking forward to the future, and that's something that interested me for sure.
Yeah, I wrote a story today for ESPN.com about how there's 3 fighters who have been scheduled to fight Conor McGregor in his career, and the fight didn't materialize because of an injury. Cole Miller, Andy Ogle, and you. The other 2 are no longer in the UFC, and they were scheduled to fight him, early in his career. But you're still here, you're still fighting, you're still winning, and I feel like it would be a nice story if you got that opportunity to finally fight him a few years later. So I, for one, hope that they actually figure out a way to make it happen.
Oh yeah, that's something that I would like, and I think a lot of fans would like to watch that one too, and especially for the whole history behind that. An injury 2 weeks before the fight, and we supposed to fight for the interim welterweight champion, and things didn't work on his side, and we'll see. I'm open to it, and I hope things happen.
Would you consider going back down to 155 for Conor?
Ariel, I need that would be something that I would have to change my whole diet. That would be something that I would have to have a longer notice. We'll say 3-4 months notice, and I would need to change things around. But that would be something. But the ideal would be a 165 or 170 pounds. That would be ideal for me.
Speaking of 165, Kevin threw out the offer to weigh in at 165, but you said no. Why?
I don't do agreements with my enemies before, on the fight week. We are scheduled to fight 170 pounds, and I'm not gonna do. If he wanna, like I told some people that ask me if he wanna make 165 pounds, that's on him. But I'm gonna make 170 pounds that I'm signing for, and. But I don't do any agreements with my. He was my enemy, on that week, and I don't want to make any agreements.
Would you like to see them open up a 165-pound division?
Yeah, I think that would be good. That would be if we could push that 170 pounds for 175,
right,
and add that 165 pounds division. That would be great. I think. A lot of big guys at 170 pounds would like that. And like smaller guys like me would be happy to with 165 pounds.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win, Rafael. I'm really happy for you that you were able to get back on track. Very impressive win, dominant win, decisive win. You get the finish. You are now, I'm being told, you are the 13th fighter in UFC history with at least 2 wins via arm triangle. So that's tied for a UFC record. One more, and it seems like you would move up in that particular ranking. And also, your 18 UFC wins is tied for 6th most in company history and 2nd most among Brazilians, just 2 behind Damian Maia. So also, by the way, your victory over Kevin Lee was the 4th latest finish in UFC welterweight history. So a couple of notable things about that great win for you on Saturday night. Happy to see you back on track, Rafael, and I'm looking forward to what's next for you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you for having me, and let's see what the future holds, and I will be ready for any opportunity that came up.
All right. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Rafael. Always a pleasure to talk to you. There he is, Rafael dos Anjos. Looking forward to seeing what is next for him, whether it's Leon Edwards, whether it's Conor McGregor. There are other opportunities out there, of course. There's the Robbie Lawler fight that's potentially out there if Robbie wants that. Maybe Santiago Ponzinibbio, a lot of guys, but most importantly right now for Rafael dos Anjos, getting back on track after the 2-fight losing streak, getting the win over Kevin Lee. And Kevin Lee, by the way, posted a pretty emotional a pretty emotional video, I should say, on Instagram after the fight from his hospital bed. Seems to be, I spoke to his manager briefly, seems to be taking the loss. Obviously hard, but it sounds like no major injuries coming from that. So perhaps taking some time off. But I would like to see him stay at 170. I think 170 is best for him. He told me on Friday that he only has to cut 1 pound on Friday morning prior to the weigh-ins. And when he was fighting at 155, he had to cut 12 pounds. That's just absurd. Friday morning, like the morning of the weigh-ins, you have to cut 12 pounds? That's nuts. So big win for Rafael dos Anjos Saturday night. All right, now let us turn our attention back to this past weekend's card in Rochester, because in my opinion, one of the best stories that came out of that card is that person, Felicia Spencer, our next guest, the former Invicta FC featherweight champion, the woman who may very well be our, and when I say our, I mean the great country of Canada on this Victoria Day, our next best hope to become UFC champion. Felicia Spencer defeated Megan Anderson in her UFC debut on Saturday in very impressive fashion, rear naked choke, first round. Wow. Felicia Spencer, welcome to the program for the first time.
Thank you. That was an amazing introduction.
And you deserve it. And I must say, I apologize because my guy, New York Rick, who you may know as well, has been telling me for the last couple of years that I need to get on the Felicia Spencer bandwagon, that I need to have you on the show. And I figured after your UFC debut on this Victoria Day, it was apropos. You're finally on the show. And you're a fellow Montrealer, so this is very exciting for me. So let's start there. Where in Montreal did you grow up, and how long did you live in Montreal for?
Oh, it wasn't very long. My family lived outside the city. They moved when I was about 4 to Florida. So I've been back a lot, but I didn't really grow up and live the life as much as I think it's portrayed. But I'm definitely, my family is there. A lot of family is there. And my grandfather, my uncle actually drove from Montreal to watch me in Rochester this weekend. So it was very special to be close.
Wait a second. This might be heartbreaking news. Do you not claim Canada? Are you not, do you consider yourself more of an American than a Canadian?
Well, I was lucky enough to be able to represent both. I'm definitely, I've lived in America pretty much my whole life, aside from the first 4 years. But like I said, I feel a very strong connection to the homeland, especially with my family being there and visiting so much. I hate to break your heart, though.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I was pretty much raised in Florida, too. I'm a bit of a Florida girl myself.
Why did your family leave Canada to go move to Florida when you were a kid?
Just some different opportunities. My dad was in the Canadian Army, and then different things happened, and then he's also an American. That's how they ended up coming to the States. He was also American, and then he joined the American Army. So I'm a dual citizen. My dad's been in both armies. It's like we're very connected to both worlds.
Wow. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
So he actually served in the Canadian and American Army? That's unbelievable.
Yes.
Is he still in the Army?
No, that's a long time past.
Okay, wow, that's incredible. Well, good for him, and thank you to him for his service. And so I understand it was your brother who got you into martial arts. Is that like since you've been like 4 or 5 years old, that's when you started?
I've trained with both of my brothers since that age. I was 4 when I started Taekwondo. My parents got me in, for just self-defense, but also just put something in front of us as kids. Being able to train together as a unit was very important for my parents to help us, stay connected with each other. And then also, I'm pretty sure they had seen some footage of Gracie's doing amazing work, and they thought martial arts was the way to go. So definitely owe it to my parents, and training with my brothers helped me develop a passion for it. So definitely stems from family for me too.
At what point do you go from just training with your brothers, doing it to, have fun, stay fit, to actually considering this as a career for yourself? When does that happen?
It was really an evolution. Like I said, I did Taekwondo all that time. I started jiu-jitsu when I was 12. And then just evolving from there, when I was 18, I moved to Orlando, went to college, and started to actually do, Muay Thai and more different striking arts and wrestling, more pure wrestling. And it just kind of grew. As soon as I got to Orlando, so when I was about 18, about 10 years ago, the gym I was at, the Jungle, I've been there since, as soon as I moved to Orlando, I went to the Jungle, and I was just, everything was putting together so nicely, and I just wanted to compete. And, there wasn't a future for women, it wasn't a thing like I could be a, professional athlete, and that wasn't even an option so much back then. But as things grew, the opportunities grew, and I knew I would just be always pushing the limit as far as I can go. It's been a long time coming.
You lost your amateur debut, correct? But you have not lost since.
Yeah.
Amateur, the rest of the way you went undefeated, and you're obviously undefeated as a pro now. Is that correct? And what did that do to you mentally, losing the first time you ever competed?
It ended up being a blessing in disguise. I mean, it was a split decision. It was something that I felt a lot of pressure kind of going in. Like, everyone knew I was already a Taekwondo black belt. I was I think a purple belt or brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So there was a lot of just support behind me. Oh, this is going to be easy work kind of thing. Not that I took it lightly, but I think I was extra nervous. With just putting pressure on myself. And my number one thing, I didn't want to gas out in that fight. And I feel like I learned so much that I wasn't able to let go and just do more work. So after the fight, I just felt like, man, I can never let that happen again. I have to push the pace. And pretty much from there out, it was fireworks. So it taught me a lot. And I'm glad I have that first loss on my record. I think it's also good to inspire other people, or you can learn from your mistakes and push forward, then you can make some big changes.
So like I said, you're a former Invicta champion. You make your debut on Saturday. Obviously, fighting, in the UFC, big stage, bright lights, a little different than Invicta. No knock on Invicta, it's just a different kind of stage. How did you feel out there? You performed great, but internally, were you a little more nervous? Were you anxious in the hours before the fight? How did it all go down?
It was very strangely familiar. I know it's, like I said, this bigger stage and everything, but I felt like everything was kind of just going how it was supposed to go, and I had just the normal amount of nerves and nothing extra really. I felt like my number one goal in this camp was to put myself in a mental state where I can just be myself in the cage, because that's when I perform my best, when I can just be. And I just, as soon as I was in the cage, I knew it was my night, because it felt right to me to be there.
When you got the victory, when you got the submission, which seems to be like Ronda had the armbar, I think the rear naked choke seems to be your signature move, because I believe, according to my stats here, all 4 of your submissions have come via rear naked choke, including your last 3 wins. So obviously that's something that's working well for you. Was that something that you thought was open against someone like Megan, maybe because of her frame? I don't know. It just seemed like you were like a knife slicing through hot butter out there. It was amazing to watch. You were very slick on the ground.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, it's my world. As an amateur, I had a few wins with arm bars, but it wasn't an intentional thing to make my career about rear naked chokes. But honestly, the last few years, things have definitely shown to my ground game is it just goes to the back. So I'm not sure if you guys can still hear me.
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my phone went a little crazy there. But yeah, no, it's not like I intended to always just go to the back, but that's just where I've become very strong, and it's safe. For MMA, I have a little more fun and take more risk when I'm just grappling in the gym. But when you're in a fight, you don't want to be in a bad position. So I'm just gonna go the quickest way that I know, which is taking it back.
And by the way, we just showed a photo of you carrying very proudly the great Canadian flag. I didn't see you carrying any Florida flag, any American flag. That's your roots right there. Don't turn your back on us. We're so excited about you. We're so proud of you.
It was awesome to be so close to Rochester, or in Rochester, so close to Canada too. I had some, like I said, family, friends, friends of my parents that I had never even met before had, supported me, and it was really cool to be so close. And we walked over, actually, my fiance and I walked over to Canada from Niagara Falls this week, so it was a nice trip to Canada.
So this is my dilemma, because as you know, featherweight is as shallow as can be, and it sounds like you're down for anything. You want to fight anyone, and then we saw Cris Cyborg immediately after your fight say she'd like to fight you in Edmonton. I'll get your thoughts on that in particular, but I would like a bit of a slow build here. The problem is there is no one to build you up slowly with, because there's literally no one other than Megan Anderson and Cris Cyborg in this division. Amanda's fighting at 135, and she's more of a natural 135er. So are you okay with that? Like, do you feel comfortable fighting that kind of opponent, or in a perfect world, would you rather a slower build?
Well, I live in the real world, and I knew this was coming. So, of course, there's paths that would be different in different divisions, but I knew that once I got to the UFC and once I beat Megan, that there would be 1, 2 options for me. So I'm ready for it. It's I obviously have to talk to the UFC about timing and the contractual things that go along with fighting Cris. But she's a legend, and I seem to rise to the occasion. I keep surprising myself. Sometimes my team isn't surprised, but I'm really excited for the opportunity that comes next.
So you like that idea? If it all works out, you wouldn't mind fighting Cris Cyborg next in Edmonton?
Yeah, if it all works out, Edmonton's a little soon, maybe. I wasn't sure about fighting in the summer, but like I said, it kind of is up to what the UFC is going to talk to me about with, like I said, contracts and things like that. I started with an entry level sort of contract, so it would be kind of a big step up. So I'd want to be smart about my next move either way. But like you said, there's not many options, so I know it's coming soon. Like I said, last summer I knew I would be meeting Megan Anderson at some point, and our paths would cross. And I know it's the same now with Cris Cyborg. At some point, whether it's next or in a year, it's going to happen at some point.
See, I like this. You're being very polite, but in other words, you're trying to say, if you fight Cris Cyborg, if they book you against Cris Cyborg, you want to get paid. Cris Cyborg gets paid a lot of money. She's a big star. You're saying it, but you're not really saying it. So I'll say it for you. You want to get paid, right?
I can't be the only one that doesn't get paid to fight her. I mean, I've seen what other people get paid to fight her. Not that I wouldn't do it just for the honor, but I know what I'm worth. Also.
Absolutely, you're 100%. I mean, Yana Kunitskaya made, I think, like $300,000 to fight her, and not saying that she didn't deserve that, but you should get the same. And I'm assuming you didn't make $300,000 to fight Megan Anderson on Saturday.
Not even close. Take
Right.
a couple zeros off that.
Right.
Yeah.
And were you surprised that she called you out that quickly?
No, you know, I didn't really think about how quick that would happen, to be honest. I kind of just tried to brush it off that night because, you know, obviously there's a lot to talk about with my team and with UFC before that's considered. So, yeah, I just was trying to enjoy my night. But, you know, Chris Cyborg is very involved with the division, and I know that she just wants to grow the division, and I'm here to help build the division up. So, you know, I think we're on the same team in that regard. You know, along with Megan Anderson, you know, I think we're all on the same, sort of on the same page in that regard. Just we want to build our division up, and we want to kind of pick each other up to do it. And sometimes calling each other out is how we do it. But,
Right.
yeah, I think we're all in it for the right reason.
Did you get any sense this past week while you were around the UFC officials that they are actually interested in growing this division? Because it has been a very slow build. I mean, there aren't even rankings. They tried to do the Ultimate Fighter, but most of those fighters, like the winner, Macy Chiasson, went down to 135. Do you get the sense that it's here to stay?
I do. I feel like I said it in another interview, you know, last when Chris fought and lost, I feel like if they wanted to dissolve the division, that was their moment to do it. Because it sounded like Amanda wasn't coming back to the division. I feel like they wouldn't have signed me if they weren't trying to build. And they did say they signed a few others. I haven't really seen. I know that there's a fight coming up in Sweden, I think, with some featherweights. So I feel like this is a push in the right direction, and I'm excited to hopefully become the face of the division real soon.
Is there bad blood between you and Megan?
No, there was some Twitter like a couple years ago, but nothing bad. I mean, just talking a little bit, and you know, she'll say her part. I think she said we were on a different level, that kind of thing. But I don't have to talk so much sometimes when I can perform the way I did. So kind of just puts my stamp on it.
Did you see her message last night? Because she did seem genuinely happy for you.
Yeah, and she was very, she had kind words in the cage also, you know, pretty much what she was saying in the post, that she was happy for me, you know, and I thought it was nice of her to post that too. I can't wait to see her back, you know. People, I've been, you know, trying not to read comments, but I've seen a few people kind of talking down to her, you know, why haven't you worked on your ground game? But at the same time, you know, Holly and I are on a different level on the ground. Megan could have improved drastically on the ground, but it doesn't matter. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 14, 15 years, and there's no amount of, you know, there's a certain level where you can't just catch up. Holly's only been on the ground for a few years, so you know, I think she probably has improved a lot, but it just wasn't enough for me.
And I love the fact that you have the legend Seth Petrozelli by your side from the jungle. How old were you? So let me think off the top of my head. You said, so you were probably, if my math is correct here, 18 when he beat Kimbo Slice. Am I right?
Yeah.
Do you remember watching that?
I didn't. I was at that time, right before I came to the gym. I wasn't like an MMA fan. I wasn't really. When I got to the gym when I was 18, that's when I started to train and like watch with the team and become more involved in it. I didn't know who he was. It was Seth Petrozelli, Tom Lawler, and Mike Lee owned the gym. I didn't know who they were. He had pink hair when I arrived. It was right after the Kimbo fight.
Wow.
I knew it was a big deal, but I was like, which one is it? Like, who did he fight? But it's an amazing team, and I'm really lucky that it stayed so strong. And to have, you know, we have so much fun in the corner. I'm sure you can just see the antics that Seth's been in over the years. So it's just a perfect group of people that mess around all day and have fun and kick ass.
Now, do you still work as a algebra teacher?
I do. Yeah, I'll be back to work tomorrow.
Wow, sixth grade algebra, correct?
Well, I teach it at a virtual school, so it's not in a classroom. I do a lot of like phone, you know, tutoring and stuff like that, and you know, a lot of emails and phone calls, basically a lot of grading. So I'll be back at my computer tomorrow morning, answering emails, probably watching the show, like my normal routine every week, you know, grading my work and watching MMA shows.
Wow, that's good.
And then calling students all day long.
And do they know who you are? Like, do they know what you've been doing as of late, what you did this past weekend?
Sometimes they say, "Hey, I Googled you recently." I guess it'll probably happen a little more often now, but no, I never really promoted it in that way. I didn't want to sort of mix the worlds too much. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I guess as long as I feel like I can really, keep the image positive and just show the all the good sides of the sport. So that's what I try to do.
Do you want to keep that going, or at some point do you think you're going to have to drop that as your UFC career progresses?
It's definitely something I've thought about before. When am I able to transition from stopping working full time and training full time to I've been able to balance it really well. So I need to kind of reevaluate and see as far as the timetable for returning and who I'm fighting next, to see if now's a good time to take a few years off, or if I can juggle it all still. Like I said, I work a lot. I rise to every occasion, every challenge. So I always seem to get it done. So hopefully at one point I can pay the bills fighting and still set up a good future for myself.
This time next year, are you UFC champion?
That's so crazy to think about. I haven't even thought about it. But how could I have to fight for a championship? I can envision that right now. It's awesome.
Wow.
I would say yes.
Okay, yes, that's what I wanted. Phenom, who gave you that nickname? Feenom.
Well, my nickname around the gym is Fee.
Okay.
Instead of Felicia. So after one of my amateur fights, someone commented that was phenomenal. Spelling it like my name, and then it's hey, Phenom. I was a little resistant at first because there are other phenoms, like I think Vitor and a couple others with the Motown phenom, but mine's spelled differently, so it's unique. And it just stuck. I just stuck from there. Honestly, it came from a Facebook comment and from my nickname being Fee. So.
Alexis Davis, Sarah Kaufman, Valerie Letourneau, Randa Marcos, Sarah Morais, Jillian Robertson, and now Felicia Spencer. You may not claim Canada, Felicia, but we're going to claim you, all right? Montreal's own Felicia Spencer, our next best hope to win the UFC title. Congratulations on the victory. Congratulations on an amazing debut. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, I apologize, as Canadians like to do. I apologize for being so late, but I'm driving the bandwagon now, all right? So you can count on me. So great to have you on for the first time, and looking forward to the next time.
It was awesome. Thank you so much again for having me. And thank you to everyone watching and supporting, and, all my sponsors and everyone. Couldn't be here without all of you.
Great stuff there from Felicia Spencer. Thank you very much to her. And all of a sudden, slowly but surely, business picking up at 145 pounds. The Cyborg fight is fun. It's interesting. It feels a little soon, but Cyborg does have one fight left on her contract, and it would seem like maybe they want to do that fight before. But also, if she doesn't resign, are you going to have her fight a big-time prospect like Felicia Spencer on her way out, have her beat her? I don't know. That's the problem with 145. There just aren't a lot of great options right now, but cool to see her succeed. New York Rick has literally been talking to me about her for 2 years and saying, you need to get her on the show. You need to get behind her. She's a Montrealer, although now we come to learn a quasi-Montrealer. Nevertheless, great debut on Saturday. A couple other things I wanted to mention before we get to our last guest of the day, the new strawweight champion of the UFC, Jessica Andrade. This is going to be awesome to have her on the show. You should check out Israel Adesanya's Instagram if you have not checked it out yet. The stuff that he's doing back home in Nigeria is really remarkable, and I feel like we should be very thankful that we have people like Israel Adesanya in our sport as a fresh face leading the way in this new ESPN era, so to speak. It's really cool to see him giving back to the kids there, giving them hope, teaching them, bringing the belt to his former school. Beautiful stuff. So well done, Israel Adesanya. Also, congratulations to Dustin Poirier, who received the key to the city of Lafayette, Louisiana last week. Cool moment for him. I know he's very proud. We saw that little moment where he was going back and forth with Daniel Cormier, calling him out for not being a Lafayette resident anymore. So I know he's very proud of his Lafayette roots, and I wanted to congratulate him on that. I used to do a thing on the TV show where I'd say, my 3 stars of the week. We'll have switched things up a little bit, and now on the TV show, which by the way still airs Tuesday nights on ESPN2, midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, last segment is usually a turn back the clock where we count down some countdown. This week it's going to be top Memorial Day UFC moments, so that's a really good one. Do check that out. But on my Instagram, I'm going to be giving out my 3 stars of the week, and that will come out after this show. So if you want to know who my 3 stars of the week, the people who shine brightest outside of the cage, this is not for people who won fights or did something like that. It's something that has to do with outside of the cage stuff, like an Israel Adesanya, like a Dustin Poirier. Check that out. It'll be up later today. And I want to remind everyone also that because next Monday is Memorial Day, we are not going to have a show. We will have the show on Tuesday. So same time, same place, but instead of Monday, it will be Tuesday. So do make note of that. In a matter of moments, we're going to be joined by the brand new UFC strawweight champion. Let us not waste any more time. Let's say hello to the brand new UFC strawweight champion, the one and only Jessica Andrade, joining us for the first time in the history of this program. And she's also being joined by her manager / translator in this particular case, Tiago. How are you, Jessica? Thank you for doing this.
Obrigado, Jéssica, por estar aqui. Como é que você está se sentindo? Tudo bem?
Oh, this is amazing. So, Tiago is in, I think, California. Jessica's in Brazil. We've never done something like this before, but it was warranted because Jessica's on top of the world right now. So thank you very much to both of you for doing this. Jessica, you won the belt 9 days ago. What is life like as a champion?
Jéssica, você acabou de ganhar o cinturão há 9 dias atrás. Como é que está a sua vida como campeã?
Olha, tá bem corrida. Vou te falar que nem eu tô acreditando que eu ainda sou campeã e que eu já sou a campeã e que eu conquistei esse título. Mas eu tô muito feliz. Foi um trabalho muito longo, né, com a minha equipe, a PRVT, o Mestre Paraná. Mas deu tudo certo. Deu o que a gente imaginava e agora é colher os frutos.
You know, it was a very long road. Both, for me, for the team. We've been at it for a long, long time, and it finally worked out. Props to my team. Coach Paraná did an amazing work with me, trained me since the beginning, and we're finally gonna get the fruits from all that work.
When you were dreaming of becoming a UFC champion and you were going through all that work and you came from very little and were dreaming big to finally get that belt, did it in your dreams feel like what you are feeling now, or are the feelings that you're feeling on top of the world as champion of the strawweight division, has it exceeded your wildest dreams?
Quando você sonhava lá para trás, né, em chegar nesse ponto, é mais ou menos o que você está sentindo agora? Ou você acha que tá indo além do que você imaginava que podia ser?
Olha, tá muito além do que eu imaginava, né? Há 2 anos atrás eu queria ser a campeã. Eu não consegui, né, lutando com a Joana, mas eu determinei que eu ia ser a nova campeã e que eu ia conseguir alcançar a disputa de cinturão, e deu certo, eu consegui. E eu acho que foi bem maior do que eu imaginava. Eu nem acredito às vezes que isso aconteceu de verdade.
2 years ago, I had the chance to try for the belt, and it didn't really work out. But, worked very hard this past 2 years to make sure that, if I had the chance again, I would make the most of it. And, it's still early days, so I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to reach with the belt, around my waist, but we're doing a lot of work. I'm getting a lot of exposure here in Brazil, and I think we're going to get much more than I could ever dream out of it.
How many times have you watched the fight?
Quantas vezes você assistiu a luta já?
Acho que umas 10 vezes já, viu?
I might have watched it about 10 times, probably, maybe more.
Did she surprise you in the first round? I thought that was the best Rose had ever looked in the UFC. She seemed to look very good and opened up a cut that I know you had suffered prior to the fight. But were you at all surprised by how good she looked in that first round?
Naquele primeiro round, a Rose te surpreendeu, porque pareceu o melhor round da carreira da Rose até hoje. E ela pareceu a melhor Rose de todos os tempos. Inclusive abriu-se o olho, né? A gente sabe que já estava cortado antes, mas ela te surpreendeu naquele momento?
A Rose, eu já esperava isso dela, né? Eu acreditava que ela ia vir com todas as armas que ela tinha, e a gente estava preparado para ser o primeiro round exatamente desse jeito, né? Ela colocando os golpes mais rápidos dela, colocando a movimentação dela em jogo, E deu certo, deu o que a gente imaginava, né? Eu queria que ela mostrasse tudo que ela tinha nesse primeiro round, para no segundo round eu começar a fazer a estratégia da equipe e tudo que a gente tinha treinado do segundo round em diante. São 5 rounds, né? Então eu tava preparado para tudo.
You know, I wouldn't say it surprised me because it was within the plans that, you know, I was going to go into the first round and get tagged. I know she was going to hurt me on the first round, but it was all part of the plan. You know, we were working the body, we were working the legs. We were fighting a 5-round fight. It ended up ending a little bit quicker, but the whole plan was to wear her out and get the finish eventually. But it was kind of within the plans to get beat up a little bit in the first round.
You were bleeding in the first round. From what I understand, you had a cut that reopened, a cut that you suffered prior to the fight. Could you tell us what happened? And were you worried when you started to bleed in the early portion of the fight?
Você abriu o olho, né, no primeiro round e era um corte que ele ficou sabendo que já tinha acontecido antes, né? Ele queria saber como é que aconteceu esse corte e se foi uma coisa que te preocupou indo para a luta e também no começo assim que ele abriu.
Então, o corte aconteceu 2 semanas antes da luta, né? Eu estava fazendo um treino de wrestling e nenhuma das quedas que eu fui colocar, eu peguei as costas e a minha companheira de treino acabou me dando uma cotovelada na hora de defender a queda e abriu. Mas, assim, não foi um corte tão grande. A gente até pensou em ir no médico e dar ponto, mas o medo de ser pego no doping por causa da anestesia, isso aí ia prejudicar muito. Então, a gente acabou colando só com um esparadrapo e aí colou. E eu fui para a luta já sabendo que podia tomar um golpe e que o corte ia abrir novamente. Mas eu estava bem tranquila. Eu sabia que eu teria esse tempo para cicatrizar e depois, se abrisse, estaria na hora da luta mesmo. E não, de todo jeito, eu já estava preparado para aquilo.
You know, about 2 weeks before the fight, I was doing some wrestling drills and I got a girl's back and she spun out like to face me and she left her elbow out there and she tagged me pretty good in the eye with the elbow while spinning to get face to face with me. And the thing is, within 2 weeks from the fight, we didn't really know if it was a good idea to do stitches. So the doctor just kind of like stapled it, like kind of taped it together. And it worked until the fight time, but we were pretty sure that as soon as she got tagged in the eye, it was going to open again. And when it happened, you know, it was kind of within plan. It's not good to be fighting with the eye bleeding out, but she knew it's going to happen eventually.
When you slammed Rose in the second round, obviously as a viewer, it was a little bit scary at first because we've never seen in a title fight like that, like the fighter land directly on their head. You were very happy. Obviously, you just won the belt. You realized she was out, but was there any part of you that was worried about her well-being?
A gente nunca viu uma pessoa sendo dada daquele jeito numa luta de cinturão, principalmente, né? Tudo bem que na hora você derrubou ela, pô, nocauteou, a sua alegria, mas passou na sua cabeça uma preocupação vendo ela toda estropiada no chão do jeito que ficou?
Pois eu me preocupei muito, né? Porque eu não imaginava que a queda seria aquilo. Eu entrei numa queda que é as que eu sempre faço nos meus treinos, que eu sempre coloco nas minhas lutas, mas eu acho que por ela ter continuado segurando o meu braço da forma que estava, que eu acho que ela tentou, no momento da queda, sair com um armlock, ela caiu nessa posição e eu me preocupei muito, né? No começo, quando eu dei a queda, eu olhei e falei, nossa, a minha maior preocupação, tipo, será que ela tá bem? Aconteceu alguma coisa? Vão me desclassificar? Será que eu dei um golpe que não valia? E aí isso me preocupou muito, mas depois que eu vi ela se mexendo, ela levantando, eu falei, não, tá tudo bem. E aí eu pude comemorar mesmo, de verdade, mais tranquilo.
You know, right after I did it, like I was celebrating because, you know, cool, I got a knockout, but it took a little while for her to get back up. And then worry started to come in, and I was worried maybe I did something I shouldn't have done. But once we saw the video, it looked okay, but still, like, it's not a very good week to fall. And we remembered that Rose had some neck problems prior to the fight, but after she got up, you know, it seemed like everything was okay. So, you know, we're able to, you know, feel a little bit better about what just happened because it could have gone pretty bad.
So there's a debate as far as, who you should fight next. Should it be the winner of the Tatiana Suarez-Nina Ansaroff fight? Should it be Michelle Waterson? Should it be a rematch against Rose if she wants to fight again? If it was up to you, who would you fight next?
Tá rolando uma discussão grande de quem seria a próxima para você, né? Seria uma revanche com a Rose, de repente a Michelle Watson, que estava lá no evento, está vindo uma sequência, ou talvez a vencedora da Tatiana Suarez com a Nina Ansaroff. Quem que você acha que seria a maior merecedora?
Olha, eu gostaria muito de ter a chance de lutar com a Rose novamente. Eu acho que ela se mostrou tão bem, né, como campeã, e ela me deu a oportunidade de lutar em casa e poder conquistar esse cinturão. Eu acredito que se ela quisesse realmente uma revanche, eu daria para ela e daria na casa dela, para retribuir a gentileza que ela fez para mim. Mas eu acredito que se ela não quiser uma revanche, talvez saia um adversário da luta contra a Tatiana e a Nina, ou até mesmo se a Michelle Waterson quiser também. Então, acho que qualquer uma das duas ali, para mim, estaria muito bom.
The person that I would really like to fight again would definitely be Rose, because she did a very nice act of kindness to me by going to Rio to defend her belt. She had no obligation to do that. And if she ever wants to fight again for the belt, I know she's figuring some stuff out, but if she wants to do it, I'll be happy to go to Denver and do it at her hometown, just the same way that she did it to me. And if Rose doesn't want to do it, then probably the winner of Nina and Tatiana would be the most worthy of the next title fight. But in the UFC, you never know. So I'm just training and getting ready, because I know that there's a lot of tough girls coming up very soon for me.
How soon do you want to return?
Quando você está esperando mais ou menos estar lutando de novo? Para quando você quer estar lutando de novo?
Olha, eu ia gostar de lutar se fosse em setembro ou outubro. Para mim seria uma data muito boa para lutar. Eu conseguiria descansar, fazer tudo que eu tenho para fazer aqui no Brasil, e aí teria esse tempo muito bom para treinar e poder fazer uma defesa de cinturão bem. Mas aí fica muito a critério do UFC, né? Dizer qual o tempo que eles vão me dar, se talvez eu lute com a vencedora da Tatiana, com a Nina, e se elas vão querer descansar. Então, tem muito tempo ainda para decidir, mas eu acredito que setembro seja uma data muito boa.
For me, September, October would be ideal, because then I would have a little bit of time to rest, do all the obligations that I have to do here in Brazil, being a champion, and getting to a proper camp. So September to October would be ideal. What the UFC have in mind, I have no idea, but that's what would work better for me.
I know it's early, but what has been the best part of being a champion? Like, was there a moment with your family, with your wife, with your team, any particular moment that you had as a result of becoming champion in the early aftermath of this amazing moment in your life that you'll never forget? Is there anything that really sticks out?
Tem alguma coisa que você, como campeão, passou agora que te marcou muito? Em algum momento que realmente foi muito bacana entre você, família, time, todo mundo?
Acho que todos os momentos agora são momentos muito diferentes, né, de tudo, né? Todos eles são especiais. Eu poder trazer a mãe do mestre para ficar um tempo aqui na minha casa, poder passear com a família na rua e as pessoas, todo mundo tirar foto e dizer, olha, a campeã. E são momentos que vão ficar inesquecíveis, né? Às vezes eu olho e penso, será que é comigo mesmo? Será que sou eu? E a alegria é demais de poder ter chegado na minha academia com o cinturão e todo mundo me abraçar e, de verdade, não tem preço. Foi um dos melhores momentos que eu já vivi na minha vida.
There are quite a few things, like just being able to bring my coach's mother to stay with us for a couple of weeks. It's been pretty fun, and being out in the streets and people recognizing me, it's pretty weird still, because are they talking to me? That's kind of strange. But I think the biggest thing was just taking the belt to the gym. The first day after the fight, I went to the gym and brought the belt for everybody, all my training partners to, they all have a little part in it. So it was very, very good for me to just be there and let them experience it a little bit.
And that night was a tough night for Brazilian MMA with Little Nog getting knocked out and Anderson Silva and Jose Aldo. It was not looking very good. And then you come out and you win the belt. Did you feel any pressure? Because it seemed like the crowd was, starting to get quiet. Did you feel pressure to try to, end the night on a high note for your country?
A noite não estava indo muito bem para os brasileiros, né? Tava todo mundo perdendo, todos os nomes mais fortes que a gente teve antes de você perderam. No card principal, todos perderam. Você sentiu uma pressão a mais de estar indo lá, você com a chance de repente salvar a noite?
Se eu te falar que no momento da luta deles, eu na verdade nem estava prestando atenção. Eu estava tão concentrada no que eu tinha que fazer dentro do octógono que eu fui perceber que todo mundo do card principal tinha perdido depois que eu já tinha lutado, depois que já tinha acabado o evento. E aí eu falei, nossa, eu fui a única brasileira do card principal que venceu. E aí eu falei assim, poxa, acredito que eu pelo menos consegui trazer um pouco de alegria e felicidade para todos os brasileiros. E o cinturão, né, que ficou aqui no Brasil. Então, antes disso, eu nem tinha percebido que todo mundo tinha perdido e que estava na minha responsabilidade tentar dar o melhor lá dentro e vencer. Eu simplesmente estava muito focada e queria vencer e não estava pensando em mais nada, só nisso.
To be honest, when I was in the locker room, I was so worried about what I had to do in there that I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening. So it only really dawned on me after the fight that everybody else had lost prior to me. So it wasn't any pressure, but it was, I guess, a nice touch to at least end the night with not just the win, but the belt. So finally able to bring a belt to Brazil. It's the only belt that is resident in Brazil. And so I think, at least it ended up on a good note.
Yeah. And finally, you mentioned the Joanna fight. That was your first title fight. And since then, you have not lost. You've won 4 in a row. She is not on a winning streak and doesn't seem like in the title picture right now. But is that something that you would like? Would you like to get that one back and fight her as champion?
Você mencionou a primeira luta com a Joanna, né? E ela não tá, numa sequência muito boa, tá com mais derrotas que vitórias. Ela não tá numa sequência que normalmente indicaria alguém ter uma chance de lutar pelo cinturão. Mas é uma luta que você tem o interesse de tentar fazer de volta?
Olha, acredito que assim como eu tive que vencer 3 lutas consecutivas para poder ter a chance de disputar o cinturão, acredito que a Joana tem que passar pelo mesmo, né? Mesmo ela tendo sido campeã da categoria, ela perdeu 2 vezes e ganhou uma e depois subiu para o 5-7, perdeu também. Então, acredito que ela tem que recomeçar tudo de novo para ter essa chance, né? A gente tem outras meninas que estão vindo aí com mais vitórias e que merecem esse espaço. Então, acredito que com a revanche com a Joana seja possível sim, mas depois de umas 3 lutas aí e ela merecendo, acredito que aí sim eles deem essa chance para ela disputar o cinturão. E eu também.
As much as I would like to have the rematch, I don't think it would be fair at this moment because she is 1-2 at strawweight since we last fought, and there are so many girls putting so much work and getting up the ranks that I don't think it would be fair for her to just bypass everybody. But you know how the UFC is, eventually it's going to happen. So I just hope that, the girls that have been working on the division and climbing up the ranks get her chance before she does. But when it happened, because I know it will, I'll be happy to fight her.
Great stuff, Jessica. Thank you. Parabéns. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you're very busy over there, and thank you, Thiago, for setting this up. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on the win. Enjoy the belt. Enjoy the victory, and we'll talk to you soon. Great to have you on the show.
Muito obrigado por estar aqui no programa e a gente sabe que você tá uma correria louca agora, mas obrigado por ter tirado esse tempinho para falar com a gente.
Eu que agradeço pela oportunidade de estar aqui com vocês e dizer que o próximo passo é tentar aprender a falar inglês e eu vou melhorar cada vez mais para poder ser uma boa campeã em todos os quesitos.
thank you for having me. I'm working a lot on trying to be the best champion that I can. English classes are part of the deal, so I'm working on that. Still not enough to carry a proper conversation, but I'm working on it, and hopefully I'm still a champion by the time I can speak English.
Deal. Yes. Next interview, we'll do it in English. I look forward to that. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Jessica Andrade, strawweight champion, new strawweight champion, Thiago Akamura, one of the best managers in the game. Really appreciate them doing that. And that is a very important thing. You got to learn English. You got to speak English. It has helped the likes of Khabib and Junior Dos Santos, Michel Pereira as well, going to learn some English too. And that will help these fighters become bigger stars here in America. One last quick thing before I go, eventbrite.com, eventbrite.com. That's where you can get tickets for our road show, the Helwani Road Show right now, June 7th, Lincoln Hall in Chicago. Doors open at 7, show starts at 8. We will have guests, we will have meet and greets, we will have refreshments, all those things and more. Eventbrite.com, June 7th, Chicago, Lincoln Hall. We're taking this show to the road, and we want more than 2 people to show up, so please help a brother out. All right. I am done. You can hit the music. Wrong song. Is it the right song? Right song. Yes. Sorry, I got confused. I've been hearing things. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I think we had a record for first-time interviews on the show today. 8, I think. 8 debuts on the show today. Is that possible? I think so. I was thinking about it in the midst of the show, and I think that we had 8 rookies on the show today. Petr Yan, Garry Tonon, Raymond Daniels, Michel Pereira, Felicia Spencer, Jessica Andrade. Is that 8 or maybe 7? We had Tyson Fury once before. Anyway, thanks to all of you for watching. Thank you, Leon Edwards, Petr Yan, Tyson Fury, Garry Tonon, Raymond Daniels, Michel Pereira, RDA, Felicia Spencer, Jessica Andrade, and Tyron Woodley. Back next week, same time and place. Until then, I say peace. I'm out of here.